Good evening, excuse me, and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. How y'all doing? I got all excited about the show that I actually breathed in when I was supposed to be speaking. Caused me to cough. Man, I'm excited to get this night going. Why? Because the math, what the hell? Can we just restart? Can we just restart? God damn. Ugh. Look at this. Look at this. This guy's here is pissing himself laughing now. Let's just get to the damn roll call, shall we? Butch Witkowski's here, and goddamn, he's pissing me off already. I think I'm going to be the one going nuts tonight. Race fan in the gold medal position. Simon takes home the silver. The gorgeous Cosmic Floor takes home the lovely bronze medal. Grand Paul Howland, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you here. And there is stunning Steph Dickey right there, all the way from Florida. From Australia, we have the gorgeous Aussie Ange. And there is Nightmare. How you doing? Welcome to our channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Gorgeous KDA, it's been a while. Nice to have you here, my friend. Thank you for joining us. And Peppa H is here. And who else? Oh, Mama Susan's here. Mama Susan will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio. For every autograph, you get a home-baked chocolate chip cookie. Mr. Cowley, welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Cowley will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, to the right. Wes H., good to see you, my friend. And who else do we have here? Bigfoot Rob, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Go 66, boo. And there's JAAR, thanks for joining us. And Mennonite Abe, amen to you, my friend. James Horn, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Big Double Tim, how you doing, buddy? Todd Purdon, thank you very much for joining us. And who else do we have here? The gorgeous Laura Elizabeth has returned, people. Holy cow. Tim, thank you so much for that amazing super chat, buddy. Really do appreciate that. The super chat is a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very much, Tim. And there's $5,900. And who else do we have? Dirt Road, you're looking lovely tonight. And Spooky Morales is here, everybody. Spooky Morales. And who else do we have here? We got Richard Elmore. We have Phil Minervino, loving the fact that Butch is back. And Gordium, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, you can't sleep when we're on. The stunning Carrie Ann, there she is from Central Pennsylvania. Height unknown, weight unknown. That's okay, though. We don't need that. All right. Oh, there she is. The best hair in Spaced Out Radio's chat room. The gorgeous Jennifer McCreary. There she is. Batmom looking lovely tonight. How are you? Thanks for joining us. The gorgeous and talented Nicole Sackich has returned. Police Rose, welcome to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that. Hold on. We're going to start the radio side of everything here. And who else do we have? Fidgety Aura, good to see you. Fapster, I know you love your Butch. There's Sunny from Paranormal Chop Shop and Sensational Sherry, good to see you. And we're going to have to speed through here. Downshift, what's happening? Mike Palumbo, good to see you. Ben from UFO Garage, how you doing, brother? How's that hair and beard combination going? Please give us an update. We need that. Terry Brown, good to see you. And Chad Smith is here, everyone. The Chad Smith. And Vash the Impaler, good to see you. Rooted in Gorgeous Sacredness, thanks for coming on in. Jason, 688, good to have you here. Scotty FJC, welcome to our channel. Thank you for joining us. And who else do we have before we run out of time? The gorgeous Oracles and Beyond. And Ian McFadden, good to see you. And who else do we have? Grandmaster, otherwise known as the Gong Show around here. Terry Brown, I think I said you, but I'll say you again. Brian, 49, thank you so much for that awesome super chat. Really do appreciate that. Super chat is a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you very much. Big Dog, good to see you. And who else we have? Julius, gorgeous Pam McSee. We're running out of time. Phil, thanks for the super chat. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. I'll tell you, this guy needs no introduction, but we're glad to have him once a month near the end of each month when Butch Witkowski joins us for Strange Days, the founder and lead investigator of UFO Cop, based out of the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, comes in and talks about monsters and everything paranormal galore. And you can find him all over Facebook and social media. He is a man who is supposed to be retired, but no, these mysteries of these creatures and monsters and legends has him so upset that he says, screw retirement, screw the heart attack I've had before. I got to find some answers. And that's exactly what he does. Butch Witkowski, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. My pleasure.
It is always a pleasure to have you. What have you been up to the last month?
A lot of reports. It just, like I said last month, it was just getting nuts and it got crazy. A ton of UFO reports, pretty much all over the place. I forget what they're registering now just for Pennsylvania, but for the United States, it's over 3,000 reports just in a couple months. And another thing one of my guys was researching a little bit. It's amazing, just in the last 6 months, how many researchers have come out of the woodwork. Don't know them, never heard of them, but they seem to have all the answers and upset him quite a bit. And I don't really want to upset that guy. He's 6'5", 250. He's the biggest cop I ever saw in my life. And he's as mean as a snake, but he's a nice guy.
I ended up having a conversation, Butch, a few nights ago with one of our local members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And he was asking me what I do and everything like that. I was telling him about the radio show, and he was immediately, oh man, I need to tune in. He said to me, he goes, 18 years on the job. He goes, I can't even begin to tell you what I have seen while doing this job, whether it's UFOs, whether it's, he worked in an area where there was a lot of Bigfoot sightings. Paranormal people getting freaked out in their own houses. His wife has actually told him that when his career is done, he needs to write a book on all of this. And you could tell by the way someone talks to you, whether or not they're just playing the game or whether they're actually quite sincere. And I tell you, I got to take this guy out for coffee, man, because I really, really need to learn about this. Really do.
There's over the years, reports from police officers, state, local, federal park rangers, federal park rangers, state park rangers, small town departments. We've gotten so many reports off of that. Matter of fact, I have one whole file folder that's just nothing but those reports. Very credible. A lot of the times it's a two-man crew in the car, and they're both seeing the same thing. And it's like you said, UFOs, Bigfoot reports, strange things running around the woods, crossing highways, multiple flights over different institutions, nuclear plants. It's just crazy. And then there's kind of the really weird ones, and the one I'm pretty sure we talked about it somewhere along the line, but there was a really, really horrific accident down on in Pennsylvania here on Route 10 and Route 30, which is it's a massive intersection. Just it's huge, and it's 4 lanes both ways, and it shoots down into 2 lanes both ways. And there was a head-on, and another one got until it was done. There was just a crap load of people injured. Some people were killed in the crash, and the police were on scene, and I was still living in the old place in Lancaster, and got a call from this guy, and I thought, well, I have a ticket or something I didn't pay or what? And he says he'd like to come to the house and talk to me. And I thought, okay. So he came over to the house, and he said, I'm gonna just relay the story one time. He said, and maybe you can look into it. He said, see what you come up with. I said, okay. So he starts the story out with multiple ambulances, multiple fire departments, multiple police departments. I mean, this was a real melee. The road was shut down for like 9 hours. And he said we were right in the middle of actually getting people, both alive and deceased, out of vehicles. And this bright light, we all saw it coming. We thought it was one of our helicopters. And he said, just like that, he said, everything stopped. It was overhead. He said, I could see everything. I could move my eyes. He said, I couldn't move anything else. Nobody else was moving. I mean, everything was like frozen in time. And couldn't talk, didn't hear anything, but it was just a blank scenario. It was just like a blank painting. Nothing was moving. It was just, everything was there, just the way he saw it and just the way he left it when that light came overhead. And then he said the light kind of went up just a little bit, maybe he said a couple 100 feet. And then it actually backed up and then took off in a southerly direction. And everything came back on. I mean, what they were doing, what they were talking about, guys in mid-sentence, the whole 9 yards, just the whole thing came back to life. And I said, and how many police officers were on the scene? He said, 12. I said, EMS personnel? He said, about 15. I said, fire apparatus? He said, 6. I said, and everybody has the same story. He said, oh yeah. He said, I got to talk to everybody I could that night and a couple of days afterwards. And I said, well, what do you think it was? He says, I have no idea. It's just like this light came up and put everything on a stop motion. Done. Everything just stopped. And I said, well, how did you feel? He said, truthfully, he said, I've been a trooper a long time. He said, I was scared to death. He said, I didn't know what was going on. He said, it could have been the end of the world for all I knew. And he said, it's just the way it is. And it wasn't too awful long after that, I got a report from a retired trooper who's now living from Pennsylvania, but now living down in North Carolina. And the night of Todd Cease's disappearance, he and another officer were going to a domestic on the other side of Northumberland Ridge. Picture the ridge. Their call was on one side of the ridge. The Todd Cease case took place on the other side of the ridge. He was not found at that point. And he said, we had to drive up this private road and off the highway. And he said, as we're driving up the road, he said, we can see the valley before the ridge. And he said, we're looking down the valley, and he says, there's this craft. He described it as a craft. He said, had a couple windows on the side. He said it was nothing. It was no plane. It was no helicopter. It wasn't anything that, from us or anybody else. He said it was very quiet. They stopped, rolled the windows down. They actually got out of the car. And he said just slowly, like 5-10 mile an hour, just went up through the valley and climbed up a little bit and then went back toward the highway and then shot itself back over toward the electrical causeway there where actually the Todsy's vehicle was found, his motorcycle, whatever you want to call it. And that, you know, and you know, he said, call me. So I called him. And told him what was going on the other side of the ridge at the same time. And he said, I never heard any of that. He said, I didn't even know that was going on. And I said, yeah, well, yeah, it was kind of a big deal. We had there was like over 250 searchers out there. I mean, everybody, including your guys. He says, strange that we didn't hear anything. I said, well, when you went back to the barracks, did you report this? He says, yeah, we did. He said, well, let's put it this way. He said, I did. When my partner was asked, he just refused to answer. And he said, Lieutenant told him, he said, just forget it. Just forget it. Stories like that are almost very common with police officers. Now, you know, I was on the road for 14 years. I never saw anything. I mean, nothing like that. But then again, I wasn't looking either. But we were down at French Creek State Park testing some equipment, some new equipment. And the troopers would come through and check on us because we were going to be there all night. And so we're standing there and we're looking like straight ahead out. It's a dark sky. It's like the third darkest place in the United States, but we're looking out. There's no light pollution, anything like that. And one of my guys that was with me says, look at that. And he's photographing something shooting across the sky. And the trooper tapped me on the shoulder. He said, well, what about that one? So I turned around and looked, and there was a bright ball, kind of orangish, reddish, whitish, you know, it was changing like colors. And it was slowly moving across the sky, stopped, dropped, make like a U, and came back up and then took off again and kept on going. And I said to him, I said, you see that stuff often? He said, all the time.
Really?
He said, sometimes we'll see bright lights that'll just drop down into the park. And until we get there, there's nothing there. He said, we have reports of strange things running around in the park. You know, we're still researching down there. We got cameras set up. They've been up now for about 4 months. But, I mean, you get lots of reports from different type of people. And it's like, you know, you know, these guys face all kind of crap. But yet they're telling you about something. You can tell they're physically shaken about it. You know, they're upset. They don't know what it is. They don't know what to do. Especially the guy where that accident scene just shut down.
Right.
And I checked with local newspapers and radio, and everybody knew about the accident, but nothing was ever said about the shutdown. And it lasted a good 5 minutes. That's a long time.
Butch, one of the big things that I have learned through talking to the RCMP officer that I did the other night is the fear of losing the pension. I mean, this is something that when they signed the dotted line to serve and protect, it didn't come with a caveat of aliens, Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFOs, alphabet agencies. It didn't come with any of that. No. So, I mean, are these gentlemen and ladies who serve and protect, are they prepared for this type of intervention?
I think some of them are. More so now than way before, or, you know, back in my time. But they're, you know, when they're talking to you, they're just, you can tell it's just so strange coming out of, you know, the guy standing there wearing the same uniform I did and telling me this story. And I'm just like, I'm flabbergasted, you know, I'm like trying to get more information. But everyone that we've taken report of, especially from the game wardens and park rangers, I mean, they get a lot of reports. Stuff in the woods, stuff running around the woods, Bigfoot sightings, strange animal sightings, UFOs, just name it. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. But you got to remember that, these guys are out patrolling, maybe 160 acres of forest. That's a lot of territory. And there's usually 2 cars out, and it's kind of amazing that the amount of stuff, the reports they get, and granted, the reports aren't like the time that the sighting was like last night, and they may not get that report for 2 or 3, 4 days, maybe even longer. But it's bizarre that you can only imagine. And there are famous cases of police officers involved in UFO sightings. I believe it's Missouri. It's either Missouri, Wisconsin, or Michigan, where the sheriff's car was hit by a ball of light. And I mean, there was, they kept the car. The car is actually in storage, and it's been gone over by the FBI, and everybody else went over the car, and nobody could explain the type of damage that was done to the car. The sheriff's deputy that was in the car, when it got hit, he swerved off and ran off the road into a small ditch and knocked himself out. But it is something that's been going on a long time, and I just think that, especially when these guys retire, that's when they talk. Then they're really talking. The one, well, he belongs to the group now, but he was a federal park ranger for 27 years, I think, 26 years. And I said, just joking with him one night at a meeting, I said, so how many, Bigfoot reports you get this week? He says, none this week, but he said, over 27 years, about 13 or 14. I went, Jesus. And he said, I thought you'd ask. And he whipped out his file, and I got to read all 14 reports. And I mean, it's not like he got the report and he never went to the scene. He got the report and he went out and looked to see what was what, and, looked for prints and all that kind of stuff. And he is, there's a lot of them out there. And pilots. Pilots are, that's another group where you can get a ton of information from. Some of them, well, they changed that. You can't fire a pilot now if he reports a UFO sighting or an unidentified craft sighting or a near collision or whatever, as long as they're not in uniform. If they're in uniform, they can be fired. Done instantly. If they're not in uniform, they can say whatever they want. And that's a federal law. They can't do that. But, all this stuff now is the FAA sends all their stuff out to Bigelow. So if there's a report comes in, say on a near air collision with an unknown craft, that report goes to the FAA, and the FAA turns it around and sends it right out to Bob Bigelow. And God knows what happens from there. So.
No, I can definitely see that. But the attitude of the police officer, let's talk about this for a second, because
Sure.
For many police officers, and you being a former cop, do you want to report anything like this? Because from what this officer told me is, and this kind of surprised me, he goes, for any file like that, at least up here in Canada with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, there is a booklet about 2 inches thick that they need to fill out for anomalous reports. Have you ever heard of something like that?
Yeah, but it's over in England. The Bobbies over in England have not a manual, but they have a report form. I think it's 100 pages. And you list everything, how many bricks did you drive over on the road before you got to the scene, that kind of stuff, which makes no sense to me at all. But I find that most officers that I've talked to over the years that talk about making or want to make a report or ask a question about, when they start asking you questions about something, they saw something. So you just gotta weasel around until you get the information out of them. But some chiefs, some higher ups, they have a tendency to listen to the story. They don't really say anything, yay, nay, or anything else, and then they just let it go. And then there's other chiefs or sergeants or corporal, which will get your can fired in a heartbeat. Because what they use is that, you're delusional. That's what they use. You're delusional. You can't be on duty. You can't be carrying a gun. You're delusional. They almost make a lunatic out of you. And but when the guys come to the house or they call me on the phone, that stays here. End of story. I don't care who's knocking on the door and wants the information. Whatever's going here is what goes here, and we're done with that. But it's just amazing. Like I said last month, the amount of calls, the amount of reports, and of everything, crypto reports and UFO sightings of all types of craft, just nuts. And I don't know what's going on, but at least I'm busy.
And I can understand that as we get about 90 seconds to go here. It almost makes me feel sorry for police officers in regards to this, because they are getting hit up from everything. They're getting hit up by their own staff sergeants, or in your case, sheriffs down there. They're getting hit up by alphabet agencies once that report is filed. They're getting hit up by a lot of people, and all they're doing is taking a report.
Yeah. Now, there's ways you can write a report and kind of clean it, that it's not too obvious what you're talking about. Like an unknown shadow in the sky could have been a plane, and then you try to explain your way out of it. What you really want to say is the unknown shadow is shaped like a cigar, and it, unbreakable speed and all that stuff. But, there's ways to get around it.
No, I fully agree with you. And, I think that's a good segue into going into our next segment with Butch Witkowski, and we will take questions at the beginning of hour 2. So we're still about half an hour away from that. And in our next segment, a lot of you guys are always asking me out there, how do I investigate? How do I go looking for these creatures? We're going to find out from the man, the myth, and the monster legend, Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop himself. He is posting one heck of a good mustache here. Very tight-lipped blade. We're very happy with that. It gets all props from us here on the mighty SOR Spaced Out Radio with Butch Witkowski. Returns right after this, so stay tuned. All right, we're clear. Give me 1 sec here, Butch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stop. There we go. Lee Poping, what's happening? Ben from UFO Garage says, I would like to order one of your lip blades, please, to go. Hey, Ben, we're going to have to get a t-shirt called the Lip Blade. I just want to check something here. Bear with me, Butch. Come on. And I can understand that as we get about 90 seconds to go. All right, we're clear. That's not what I wanted. Investigate. How do I go looking for these creatures? We're going to find out. I just want to hear the music. Gorgeous Avi May, how's it going? Oh, dude, you got to add it to our store, Ben. I got a bunch. Hey, Ben, I got a bunch of stuff on there right now that I can't add. Big Dog, how you doing? Returns right after this, so stay tuned. Okay, so audio is still not getting through. Shoot. All right, we got to figure that issue out. We were working like an hour and a half before the show trying to figure out why my one program is not pushing our music audio over to YouTube. And it's just not making darn sense here, Butch Witkowski. Not making darn sense whatsoever. The gorgeous Magic Maiden, how are you?
Wow.
Look at that, Butch.
Wow.
Carrie Ann in Central PA says, Butch, I love you. I love you so much, Butch. Your lip blade just makes you look 20 years younger.
You're so weird. How much time we got there, boss?
We got about 2.5 minutes. Go pee if you have to, man.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
All right. There's Uncle Dale and his power stash. Remember, if you are in Austin, Texas, and you see Uncle Dale, who is, if you look at his photo, is the inspiration behind my new look. Uncle Dale and his power stash. If you get that, Santa Claus will bring you a present of your choice if you can find Uncle Dale in Austin, Texas, and rub his power stash for good luck. John Music, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Different program, Jenny. Different program. Awesome Cat Chaser, how are you? Radio. All we hear is Radio Gaga. Radio Goo-Goo. Radio Gaga. Come on, you got to do that. It's the only way you can sing that song. Mm-hmm. Carfanibre, how are you? Double bass, no F's, no C's, and no calling people directly swear words. Otherwise, I don't mind. BBD Warrior, how you been, buddy? Let's get you up on the screen here. There we go. BBD Warrior, everyone. All right, big thank you to Double Tim, Brian, and Phil for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate it. And it's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Thank you to all the veterans who have tuned on in. We really appreciate you. And, of course, everybody in our chat rooms. And don't forget, if you are following us, follow us on TikTok as well. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop. Butch joins us near the end of each month, where we get into all the monster talk on a little ditty we call Strange Days. Butch is based out of Pennsylvania, got one hell of a mustache right now, and we're going to continue on here. Butch, each and every month I get a lot of people asking, how do you investigate? How do we go about getting into this? How do I go looking for Bigfoot in the forest or little people or Dogman? You know, I want to see something and I want to get involved. How do I do it? How would you tell a complete amateur how to start?
Well, I've had that question 100 times already, but the best way to do it is there are so many organizations in all the states. Find the one that's closest, do a little background on them, go attend one of their meetings. Nobody charges to go to a meeting. For those people, that's the best way to start there. I mean, for people that want to go out on their own, or, you know, them and a cousin or uncle or wife or whatever want to go out and do some chasing, then it's, best thing to do there is, they can get a hold of me or one of my guys, or I can put them in touch with somebody in their area, because we deal with people all over the country. So the equipment is for a start, the equipment's minimal, depending on what you're going to look for. If it's UFOs, Skywatch, telescopes are relatively inexpensive. You can get those for under $100, or you can go up to 15,000 if you want. But binoculars, I mean, all that stuff is kind of cheap. But they need a form. If somebody wants to do that, I'll send them one of our forms. They can copy it. There's no copyright on the form, which tells them all the questions to ask, what to do, what they should be looking for, what they should be measuring, weather, time of day, number of witnesses, multi-witness, single witness, description, hand drawing if they want. I mean, everything's on there. I've sent out a bunch already, and basically they were the people that just wanted to start. And, because if you sat and had to tell them voice to voice over a telephone or via an email and saying that, okay, this is what you need to ask and this is what you need to look for, I mean, you're going to go on. Our report's like 6 pages long. So I just, they tell me what they're looking for. We have separate reports for paranormal. We have separate reports for cryptos. We have separate report for UFOs. And we have separate reports for pretty much everything. So depending on what they want to go look for, whether it's UFOs in the sky, or which is probably the easiest to do, because if they're in an area where they don't have a lot of light pollution, or if they're close to a place that doesn't have light pollution, is where they should be doing their setups. Once they get the hang of it, word gets around and people will start getting contact to them. If they would like, I always ask them, I said, look, if we get anything in your area, do you want me to just ship it to you, or do you want us to handle it? And a lot of times they'll say, you handle it. I said, well, you're never going to learn if you don't handle it. So, but most of them on the round side say, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. And we have sent out some reports to places where we don't have anybody. Southern Oklahoma is one of them. A young fella and his wife started out there about 2 years ago, and we've sent him about half a dozen reports already, plus he's getting his own now. And I always tell him, set up a page on Facebook, or somehow people can contact you. I said there's lots of ways to do that, and set up a website, or a lot of ways to do it. Then they always want to know about starting a group. And I always shake my head. I go, unless you know everybody in that group and you've worked with them and you know the type of person they are and the type of investigator they are, you don't want to do that, because, somewhere along the line, there's a group that's going to start up down the road and the war starts. You got one more report than I did, or my t-shirts are better than yours, or we have better hats, or whatever. And then they're both gone. But they've been at it now for about two years, maybe 3 years. And they're doing really well at it. Photography wise, I always tell them, I like, look, don't go and invest in a lot of, get your cameras, but don't get involved in buying the programs to, discern the photographs or the video. If you have something you want discerned, just send it to me. You got my email, send it to me, and I'll take care of it and send it back to you. And I don't share it with anybody but you. So, and that's another thing. You got to be really honest about how you deal with other investigators, because, like I said, there's always a war going on between one group and another. That's just the way it's always been that way. And or the group splits up, and then this half of the group starts their own group, and we stay away from that totally. We don't get involved in that. I don't discuss other groups because I don't know what they're doing, nor do I care. They do what they want to do. And but as far as people getting a hold of us to I wouldn't say put them in the right direction, but answer questions that they have that we've already went through 1,000 times already. But it's my wife the other day mentioned to me, she said she was going through she does some of my filing, and she says, do you realize that in 30 years, 30 some years, she said, you've taken over 5,000 reports? And I went like, no. She said, yeah, because we number them and date them. And she said 5,000, I think it's 5,070 to be exact. So for a newcomer out there, if you think you got something strange, I probably have that report. Maybe not in your area, but I have that report. Whether it's crypto or it's UFO or Bigfoot sighting or whatever other sighting, Dogman, rakes, paranormal garbage that makes me crazy. But it's not really hard to get started in it. It's just that you got to be really, really careful when you start where you make your first connections to. If you make your first connections to some law maniac that, like I said, they're coming out of the woodwork, that is, a dyed-in-the-wool, whatever, researcher, you'll get put on the wrong path right away, and then it's not going to get any better. So, what you want to do is, get your information from somebody that you can trust, or they'll help you out as much as they can. And that's pretty much the best way to start.
This can be a very expensive hobby.
Yes.
Because a lot of people want the toys. They want the gadgets that light up. They want the gear. They want the cameras. Yeah. They want the infrared, the FLIRs. But you don't need that.
No.
You don't need that. When your best pair of gear comes from you, your intuition,
yep.
Number one, but your eyes and ears, number 2 and 3, and your smell.
We don't anymore because the group's been together for so long. We don't have to do it anymore. But when I first started, I used to do a training paper every month, send it out. And the one was on questions asked at an investigation. 2 pages long, but tells you how to ask direct questions, indirect questions, what to look for if you think somebody's snowing you. There's just a whole lot of stuff, basically it was just old police information that we passed on. And then there were things like, one was on radioactivity, and they were just how to, basically like a how-to manual, only not a manual. It's just a monthly thing we did. But it was how to use a flare and how to do this and how to do that and how to make a plaster cast and in the winter and the summer and in the snow and in the rain and just a lot of, and always, we did one on equipment, where to get equipment at good prices. There's a ton of used equipment out there. And that comes from people like you were just saying about, they want all the gadgets and the toys and the whistles and the lights splashing and all that stuff. But they don't either know how to use it or they don't do it anymore. And the stuff is sitting on the shelf in the garage or they have it on eBay, and I always tell people, I said, if you're gonna invest in something like say a laptop, you want to get a military grade type of laptop, one that can take a beating, and because it's going to be bounced around the car, you're probably going to drop it, it's going to get rained on and stuff like that. But it's like you just said. I mean, it can be very expensive. Now, yeah, we have trucks and we have all this equipment and stuff like that, and there's nothing we can't go after, but it's that's 30 years worth. It's not like this was started last year. That's 30 years worth. And this stuff don't break, it don't wear out. I mean, there's a weather station in there. Weather is very important in all reports. So, and a lot of times the weather will tell you exactly what you're dealing with. When the guy said, I saw this and I watched it for 10 minutes and it did this and it did that, and then you look at the weather and you find out that the ceiling was only about 1,000 feet, fog, cloudy, rainy. They couldn't have seen anything up that high. So you know what you're dealing with, and you never call anybody a liar. You just gradually just fade away into the sunset, and they kind of get the hint.
Never mind spending a boatload of money in order to get started. If you were to pick two pieces of gear for any rookie out there who wants to just go out in the forest and maybe see if they could capture something, what would you pick? Affordability is definitely at play here.
FLIR. The cheapest ones you can get are the ones that attach to a camera, to a camera phone. They're like $140, $150. If you want to get just a standalone FLIR, like a monocle, they're around anywhere from $300 to $700, depending on which model you get. Binoculars, absolutely, and a small camera. I mean, a small Canon. They're like $115, $120. Just get the waterproof one. That's like $20 more. Because when you go out, it could be a nice sunny day and you're out in the middle of the woods and all of a sudden a storm pops up and you're standing with all wet equipment. A bag to put everything in, pencil and paper. We use Write in the Rain tablets, so they can get wet, they can get rained on. You can throw them in a creek, still write on them with a pencil. Small first aid kit, compass, absolutely. Cell phone, absolutely. So it's really not, probably half the stuff that I just mentioned people already have, with the exception of maybe a FLIR and that kind of stuff. But excuse me. That's pretty much it. I mean, unless you're now, if you're going to a place where there's a good chance that you're going to get a track where somebody says, "Hey, there's footprints here." Well, then you want to take along the stuff to make a cast. But even that's cheap. I mean, that's hardware store stuff. You can buy a pound of plaster Paris for less than $250. So that's pretty much the gamut. It's even less if you're going to do UFO sightings, because that's basically you're looking through binoculars up at the sky and you're documenting. Have a small tape, get yourself a small tape recorder and turn it on, just set it close to you, and you can describe what you're seeing through the binoculars as you're seeing it. And they even have binoculars now with video cams on them. They're not real good for distance. You'll get kind of a 50% shot at a decent film, but I don't ever recommend people to go out by themselves. So if you're going out, you want to have somebody with you, let them use the video cam or the binocular, share the load. And always tell people where you're going. Don't just load up the car and take off into the woods and nobody knows where you're at, or your phone doesn't get service. That stuff happens a lot. And there have been people, people don't realize it, but there have been people that have been killed in paranormal sites. Dead.
Do you have any stories?
Well, the one that always sticks in my mind, and if I would have been, you always wish you would have been there, because you wanted to just walk up behind the guy and in the back of the head, you idiot. So that was in Kentucky, maybe 5-6 years ago. A team, four people on a team, a husband and wife and a boyfriend and a girlfriend, small paranormal team, and they went to investigate a property in an old abandoned town. And most of the places were open. You could go into them, but this one place was locked, so they broke into it, which was a no-no. Always make sure you got permission to be anywhere you are. And so everybody kind of scatters on the bottom floor doing whatever they're doing. And the one guy, he bolts up the fucking, first flight of steps to the second flight of steps and up into the attic. And he took 2 steps and he went right through the floor. And he went through the second floor. And when he hit the bottom, he landed on a chair back, and on his back, on a chair back. And he killed instantly.
No kidding.
And then there was another one that was, I believe that was Sarasota, Florida, I believe. And that was another dumb move where they were investigating I can't remember what they call it, some kind of pit where, it was like a garbage pit that was filled over, like a landfill, not like a big landfill, but a local landfill. And he went tromping around down in there, and about 3 months later, they found him, because the landfill was filled with water. And when he got into it and all the stuff on top of him, he just drowned. That was it. Got to be careful out there.
Butch, is the reason behind a lot of these people dying at investigative sites because it's the investigator's fault, not the fault of the paranormal, not the fault of the cryptids? I mean, every year we see investigators breaking into areas where they're not supposed to go, into condemned buildings where they think, I can handle this. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be a lump on a log or anything like that, but if you're breaking the law to go do an investigation, sometimes, just sometimes, Darwin comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so many cases out there of people have gotten arrested for going into cemeteries, breaking into crypts, digging up graves. Hell, there was not too long ago, there was an outfit that was in a huge cemetery out in Northern California, and they were filming a porn movie. I mean, also one of the things that we also carry with us in our briefcases or packs, whatever we got, is permission slips to go on a property. We try to contact the person that owns the property before time, and then make some kind of appointment where we can get down there and get them to sign off. We're covered by our own insurance and all that stuff. So basically, they're just giving us free reign for, say, 7 o'clock at night until 12 midnight. We can be there, no problem. And they get a copy, we get a copy. And that way, if the cop rolls up, what are you doing out here? Oh, we got paper. You can take a look at it. So you always want to have permission. Don't take it for granted just because there's nobody around that the place isn't owned by somebody, because you can get yourself in a real bunch of trouble real quick. And I always tell people safety and being cautious is number one when you're doing any of this stuff. There's one of my guys, I have to admit, is one of my guys. We were out a few years back, and we were doing a star watch, and everybody's saying, like, well, don't go that way because there's a little cliff there. We don't know how far it goes. Well, my guy, no problem. Down the hole. Get a rope, pull him back up. What a dummy. He wasn't hurt, thank God. But, when somebody tells you don't do that, take it for granted. They know what they're talking about. Don't do that. Don't go up those stairs. And I'll tell you another thing to be cautious of: booby traps. I can't remember how long ago that was, where a paranormal or a group of paranormal teams kept going to this property, and they kept getting warned off. And guy walked in, and he was just about ready to hit the second step on a flight of stairs going up to the second floor. And the other guy stopped him and pulled him back, and he says, look, and there was a rope attached, and the board was loose. And if he would have stepped on the board, what dropped was a sharpened rake. Would have hit him right in the chest or the face, depending on how many steps he took. So, there's people out there at the Vindictive. They don't want anybody nosing around their property. But if you get permission, like right now we're setting up a lot of stuff for doing some caving, but we have permission to go on every one of them in writing. I mean, the only one that there was question about, the guy said, well, he would just like to come and meet us before we go into the cave.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Hold on to what? I don't know. Maybe that mustache that you got growing there on the top of your lip. It's a good one. And we appreciate Butch Witkowski coming in for Strange Days as he joins us near the end of each month to tell us about all things weird and strange. And I know, Butch, there's going to be a lot of questions coming up for you because we've hit some hot button topics with our audience tonight. And we're going to get into your questions if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days. Butch from UFO Cop, founder, lead investigator. We're going to have some fun in hour 2 with Big Bad Butch next on Spaced Out Radio. Jurassic Joey, how are you? Good night, Major Lee. We're almost at 200 tonight, Butch.
Wow.
195 right now. 194 on YouTube. Good times. Good times.
I'm still suffering from turkey coma.
I'd like some of that turkey. James Smith, how are you? We are taking questions next. Just do me a favor. Put them in capital letters if you do not mind. Let's see what the clam has for us coming up here. All right. Thanks, Clam, for that amazing, super duper password for tonight. That's why we call him the Clam around here. I hate it when you can't get two programs to talk to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I'm going to try something here, people, and I want you to tell me if this is going to work, okay? Just do me a favor. Tell me if this works. If I do this, can you hear this? Can you hear that, Butch?
No. I hear something faint, really faint.
That's out of my headphones. All right. Well, that didn't work. All right. Well, that didn't work. Trying experiments here, people. Says that's supposed to work. Says it's supposed to work.
Got a hammer?
No.
Oh.
You can share music and other sources using a tab in Chrome. Okay. Video. All right. Click Chrome tab. The hell is the Chrome tab in here? Share screen. Click Chrome tab at top. Select your music tab. I don't get that. I have to play with this. Maybe tomorrow. No, the tab's not muted. I'm not having my radio DJ program speak to StreamYard. That's the problem. We got 1 minute, Butch.
Okay.
Hi, Miss Pickles. Always a pleasure when you're here. Oh, hold on. Gail's messaging us. Gail, I'm in the middle of a show here. If you don't mind, in the middle of a show. No, John, I never do call-ins. I never do call-ins. Biggest reason why is because every time I do, nobody calls in. Big thank you to Spooky, to Phil, to Brian, and Double Tim for the amazing super chats tonight. We really do appreciate it. And David Lopez, nice to see you here. And we're going to get going here. So I'll hear the music. You won't, but it'll sound good on the podcast. Here we go. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quatrail. Quatrail is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We bring in Butch Witkowski at Strange Days as Butch comes in near the end of each month to discuss everything from monsters to legends to folklore. We're going to take your questions as well here in hour 2. He is the founder of UFO Cop in Pennsylvania. And Butch just loves hanging out with us. We kind of like him around here. And for some reason, he likes us as well. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
As we wait for audience questions here, I want to ask you in regards to, we only have one more show with you in 2019 or 2019. What year am I in? 2021, after this. But looking back on 2021, what kind of year has this been for you as an investigator?
For the first few months, and a lot of it I'll have to attribute to, recuperation from this friggin' heart attack. But it really picked up in the last 6 months, 6-7 months, where just a whole lot of stuff is going on. Like I said, it was everything from saucers to triangles to things running around the woods that people can't explain, coy wolves, bipedals, paranormal stuff. I've just been busy, That's, I got stuff to do out, that we're revamping the inside of the truck with some more equipment, monitors and stuff, and cameras. And, I get out there and I want to spend the whole day out there, and I'm out there for an hour and the phone's ringing and I'm all tied up. But it's been very busy. Hope it stays that way. It goes nice when it's busy, because it gives me stuff to talk about when I come on the radio.
No kidding. Let's start the questions off with our audience here.
Okay.
This one comes from Double Bass. Could the origins of Dogman come from Anubis mating with a wild wolf? That's the only theory that explains this creature. That
explanation has probably been around for a long, long time. I mean, Anubis goes back, well, at first they said 4,500 years, but now it's more like 10,000 years. So, when you start talking about bipedal, I mean, look at Anubis, and yeah, there's definitely a connection there somehow. But then that takes you into the whole thing of planet Egypt. Many researchers, especially the ancient alien guys, all say that everything started with Egypt, even when it wasn't even Egypt. One of the things that always amazed me, and I don't know, remember even when I heard it years ago, but never ever in the history of Egypt has a pharaoh been found inside of a pyramid. Never. They were all buried in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor. That's where they were all found. And they feel that as the original origins of the pyramids with their alignments to star systems, and the last thing I heard on it was they pretty much think they were some kind of power generators. I'm not an archaeologist, but it does fascinate me.
The funny part about it is, before we get to the next question, Butch, is a lot of people, from soldiers to experiencers and even investigators, have claimed to not only see Dogman, but these Anubis-type creatures who are wearing body armor, who are carrying around giant swords that are vicious and violent. I mean, it sounds right out of a sci-fi thriller-type movie, but these are people who are seeing these with their own eyes. How much stock do you put in those stories?
Well, I always put stock in a story, especially when there's more than one person telling that story. I believe it was in Iran or Iraq where a vehicle was struck by a sword-wielding Anubis-type creature, and it pretty much hacked into the hood of the vehicle. And the one guy was totally hysterical. He's probably still committed somewhere in a nice little rubber room because he lost it. So, you know, and that's another thing, you know, I often thought about what am I going to do if I come face to face with something like that? You know, my standard answer to that question is I'm just going to throw him a tennis ball and say fetch, and then beat it back to the truck. But you know, you don't know. You're putting yourself in a position that you'll probably never be in, but then again, never say never. You know, I know guys that, you know, been out there, been looking for Bigfoot for years and years and years. And, you know, they say the same thing. You know, what if I do if I see one, or if I come in contact with one? They asking me what to do. I haven't got a clue. You know, I've never been in that position. So, I mean, things that are in the sky, I always tell people if they get close, run. Just run. Get away. But they never get close. I mean, they're always up there. So, that answers that.
Oh, I hear you, my friend. I hear you. All right, let's get to another question here from Phil Minervino. Do Bigfoot give off scent?
Well, yeah, the people that have reported them, they all come up with the same thing. It's like a wet dog smell, musty, wet dog. I've seen a couple reports where they say it was like walking past a cesspool, but I've never had the honor of getting a whiff. Not that I'm looking for it, but that everybody kind of says the same thing. It's just like smelling a wet, mildewy dog, you know, or something cesspoolish like.
Okay. You know, a lot of people say it smells like skunk. Have you ever been around that?
No, I have not. Well, there was this one girl I dated in high school. Never mind.
No.
That's another story.
No, we're leaving Godzilla alone today. I got in trouble for that. I got in trouble for Godzilla. Anyways, moving on. Let's go to Miss Pickles here. Let's talk about CERN. Do you think they're opening portals and banging atoms together to try and find the God particles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's their whole purpose. I just want to know what they're going to do if they do find it, or what's going to happen. They've come close.
Do you think this is a reason why we're seeing so many people being affected by what they call the Mandela effect?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
for people who may not know, explain the Mandela effect.
Well, it depends who you're asking. I mean, my knowledge of the Mandela effect is like you put it in a thimble. I mean, there's books on the Mandela effect. Um, when it just seems like when you're messing with portals and um, doorways and CERN, um, the weather control up in Alaska, with the antennas, there's just nobody really has a good answer. They just pop out with something like, well, this could happen, or that may happen, or we could find this out, or maybe we won't find it. I mean, you just get talked around in circles. And but CERN, I have a real problem with that. I have a real problem with that. I mean, you're smashing atoms and doing this, and like Jeff just said, HARP. That's what I was looking for. I mean, there's no excuse for this stuff. And they say, well, it doesn't really do anything. Well, if it doesn't do anything, why'd you spend billions of dollars to put it there? And why is it still in operation? They said HARP shut down years ago. No, HARP didn't shut down years ago. There was just an investigative team that was up there from Sweden about a year ago doing all kind of tests. It's totally operational. So if they're trying to control weather, it's either got a military purpose or God knows what other purpose they'd use it for. But that's weird, just weird. But CERN, I have a problem with CERN.
Have you ever had a Mandela effect happen to you?
No. Have you?
Yes. I got two. Number one, I have a Ford key from the old days.
Okay.
The Ford logo on the F has a little curly Q. Like in Dairy Queen, it has a curly Q.
Mm-hmm.
This key has no curly Q. Ford says that the curly Q has been there forever, since the invention of the logo. That's one.
Yeah.
Number two was a few months ago, I was interviewing a friend of yours and a friend of mine, David Weatherly.
Yes.
And I was scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, one of the two, and I saw a new book of his called Monsters of the Great Lakes. And I talked to him before showtime, like I call you and every other guest before showtime. And I said, David, I'm really excited to talk about your new book on Monsters of the Great Lakes, because I'd just seen it a couple hours previous on social media. And he goes, yeah, that's a great topic, Dave. Problem is, I've never written a book on it. And clear as day, I saw the photo with the cover of like a sea monster looking like a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coming out of the water, mouth open, teeth sticking out. And at the bottom it says, by David Weatherly. Do you think I can find the post now? And he swears he has never written that book. What did I see?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. I mean, a guy drugged me through the woods one time to look at a pair of steps that went nowhere, and showed me a picture of these steps. There's 8 of them, just from the ground up to about the middle of a big tree, And they stopped. There's nothing there. No house, no foundation or anything like that. We went right to the spot. Wasn't there. There was no sign of anything being there. The picture was 35 millimeter. It wasn't a digital. And I said, so where's the stairs? He said, they were right there. He said, there's the tree. You look at the tree, and the tree's exactly like the tree that's there. And then there's there's a little walk, like a little trail that goes off to the left. And that's there in the picture. But there's no steps.
All right, let's move.
There's so much. There's so much that we don't know, Dave. Seriously, it's weird. But anyway,
it very much is. Let's go to another question here. Steven is asking, what's your thoughts on Valiant Thor from Venus?
That whole Venus thing. I mean, I know the guy that wrote the books. He's a heck of a nice guy. He really is. But when somebody tells me that, you know, they'll call and leave a message, Butch, I won't be talking to you for a little bit. I'm going to Venus. I'm spending a month there. What do you say to a guy like that? I don't know.
Can I come too?
Yeah. And then, you know, there's pictures out there of these two women that evidently are from Venus that have been living here for a couple hundred years. And there's just, I don't know. I guess Venus was just ripe for the picking at the time. I don't know. But I have two of his books that he sent me. And to be very honest with you, I never even opened them. And that's the truth. Because it's somebody's fantasy. So.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. David is wondering, do you think there's any truth to the Kandahar giants?
It depends which story they're telling. There's like 4 or 5 different renditions of the Kandahar giant. But if you look back in way back in history, there were giants that were out that roamed the earth. Not, I mean, a lot of people say, "Well, you're talking about the Nephilim." No, I'm not talking about Nephilim. I'm talking about human beings that just walked around. They were just huge, and the fact that the stuff was all sent to the Smithsonian Museum, and they lost everything. How do you lose that stuff? I mean, give me a break. Yeah, there's no way you got somebody that's 10 foot tall, and you got the skeleton, but if you put all the flesh on them, you're talking about a couple 100 pounds, and they lost it, and they didn't just lose one; they lost them all. So, yeah,
It makes you frustrated, eh?
Yes.
All right, let's go to TMI. Butch, what do you think about Mothman?
Well, there's been so many stories over Mothman. People have seen something. I think some of the folks that I deal with have put it down to a large owl. Now, could that be? Yeah, maybe. You're driving down the road and something's flying alongside the car. You're looking at it, and it could be that big, and in your mind, it's that big. A lot of people say it's a harbinger. When the bridge went down, it was seen on the bridge a few days before that. There was a fire where it was seen again at that point. But it hasn't been seen in a long time. 2 of my guys go down to their deal they have down in West Virginia every year, and at Point Pleasant. And there's not been any recent sightings. I mean, a lot of this stuff is a few years old, but well, look at all the stuff that's going on out in Chicago. Look at all the reports out there of stuff flying around the skies. I mean, they're all over the place. So, could Mothman be something? I guess it could. Could be anything. I mean, the description is the same. That's one thing. But where I have a problem with that is when the very first sighting took place, where the guy and his girlfriend made the first report, it was published in the newspaper. And then the police put an article in the newspaper, and everybody from there on, it was like Me Too-isms, I saw it too. Me too. I saw it, So, and there's never been a clear picture of this thing. Now, there is one video out there where there's two large birds take off in a tree, from a tree, and they say that that's proof positive that there is such a thing as Mothman. Well, all you see is two birds in a tree that take off into the sky. There's no way from the video you can tell how big they are, even though the guy's saying they're gigantic, they're as big as an airplane. Well, no. I mean, Thunderbirds, that's a different story. You got people should really go looking or go on Google and Google up a condor and look at the wingspan on a condor. And they've been seen on the East Coast because they get trapped in a flow of air from Northern California, and they just follow that air all the way into the East Coast. They've been seen in Philadelphia.
We got 1 minute to go here. I want to get a question from Kat the Kit. She's asking, Butch, who do you think that the paranormal door is for everyone? Do you think it opens easily and closes easily for people?
I think it's a mindset. I know people have been at it for a long time, never saw a thing, nothing. And then there's people that go out and they get EVPs and they get video and they get everything. I think people that do that kind of work, the paranormal stuff, really got to have an open mind. They really got to, because they see something that looks like the shadow of a man, and it's a coat hanging off a hanger on the door on the other side of the room. But they didn't see the coat. All they see is the shadow, and then all of a sudden you got a shadow man report. But it's just, I just think your mind has to be in the right place. You have to be thinking what you're looking for.
Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, we'll continue with audience questions. There's some good ones out there, and Butch will have the answers for you. UFO Cop is Butch's team. Strange Days with Butch Witkowski continues right after this. We hit 2:05. Butch, I'm just going to run, and I got to blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Okay.
There we go. I can somewhat breathe. The idea of Vicks in the old nostrils, it soothes it. Soothes it. That's our next question, by the way. We'll get to it here when we come back, okay? Yeah. Hi, gorgeous wagon breadth. How are you? Who else has come on in here? Commonwealth Andrew, good morning to you. Low Pro, how you doing? Brazel Hov, nice to see you. And Lazarus, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. Justin S., good to see you. And let's see, who else is here that I haven't said hello to yet? Aaron, the original. How you doing, buddy? Hope you find the new sandwiches in the fridge. They're fresh. Zenzabil, good to see you. Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize I was this behind. It's the chat room that just keeps going. And I think we're almost got Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. There he is, everyone. Give us a bow, Super Duke. Cashew, good to see you again. Arjuna, how you doing, buddy? There we go. I think we're caught up there, Butchie Butch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. That is good. I wonder. Options. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Chad Smith, I may have an audio question for you after the show. Just so you know. Derek Ning, what's happening? Chris Mo from Austria, how are you? The gorgeous Larry Schulte is here. Excuse me. Chad, I cannot seem to connect my radio DJ audio to StreamYard. I'm struggling with that right now. If you can study up on that, that'd be great. Radio DJ to StreamYard. All right, Butch, we got 30 seconds. I want to say a big thank you to Spooky Morales, Phil, Brian, and Double Tim for the amazing super chats tonight. The super chat is always a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. We're going to continue with audience questions right after this. Thank you to our new subscribers and our new subscribers on TikTok as well. And all the veterans out there tuning us in. Remember, you always have a safe home in the Spaced Out Radio chat room. Here we go, everybody. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, Reach out to and read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the man, the myth, and the legend, Butch Witkowski in Strange Days. Butch joins us near the end of each month to go over the strange and weirdness of the month that was. His team is called UFO Cop. That's UFORCOP. And Butch, thank you so much for joining us, bud.
Always a pleasure.
Always good to have you here. Always good to have you here. All right, let's start off with a question from John. What do you think about Robert Bigelow's team seeing a large winged creature in a tree above where some cows were on Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, the whole team said that's what they saw. I mean, they saw what they saw. Now, what the large winged creature was, there's really never even been a description of it other than it was large and it was a creature and it was very big and it looked like it weighed over 100 pounds. Something like, I don't know how they came up with that, but you know, they report what they see, and you know, discerning what they're seeing that's a whole nother ball game. I mean, if they would have had, like I said, it was a vulture, a turkey vulture, a vulture, or a condor, or an eagle, or whatever, I'm sure they would have said that. But they really didn't describe it. They just said it was a large winged creature.
It almost sounds like a pterodactyl.
Yeah, I just got done working on a photograph. I turned it over to Lon. Well, I got it from Lon. I turned it over back to him, and he said, "What do you make of it?" And I worked on it for a few hours, and I said, "I thought it'd never come out of my mouth." I said that I'd never say anything like this. I said, "But you know what? It looks like a dragon," and that's exactly what it looked like. And not only do I have the original print of the photograph. That wasn't a camera phone. It was a camera. And,
all right, let's go ahead. Finish.
No, I'm just going like, no, dragons. Oh, brother, what else?
All right, let's move on here, and let's go to our Spreaker chat room where Justin is asking, Jeff, sorry, if I can get the name right, third time's a charm. Butch, have you ever sent a FOIA request to the government? And if so, did you get a helpful response?
Yeah, probably about 40 or 50 of them over the time. Maybe 10 of those were helpful, but the rest of them, I mean, I had one come back and said they didn't understand it because the spelling was, a couple things were misspelled. I'm going like, give me a break. You know, misspelled. I've had them come back, no record found. I've had them come back, records lost in a fire. I don't know what fire they're talking about. And Black Vault, he has the same problem. You know, he gets stuff back that makes no sense. But some of the stuff comes back. It's you ask the question, you got the answer.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Okay, let's go to another question from Tony in the United Kingdom. Do you think the authorities are coming around to confirm Sasquatch?
I have to think on that one. I would say they wouldn't be the authorities, but there's probably a lot of long-time researchers out there that would like to see that stuff being confirmed. I mean, there's some of the reports, and I'm not talking about stories now. I'm talking about reports that are either multi-witness or, you know, they're just almost too good to be true. But when you get multi-witness reports, and you know, like the two witnesses aren't together. This guy lives on a farm 5 miles away, and this guy, you know, and he sees the same thing this guy sees 5 miles away. And then there's investigators out there that have had their sightings. Alon was one of them, had his sighting down there in when he was living down in Delaware. There's something out there. I know you'd agree with me on that. There's just too many things that happen that have been seen, not to complete the report, but enough to get you to sit down and think and go like, this could be. And then, you know, the best one is that I always tell this story is a professional photographer who really knew his stuff, had the top of the line equipment, and went out and did his Bigfoot research pretty much every weekend, and zeroed in on one with a hell of a camera. I mean, you're talking about a $10,000 lens, and you could when he snapped the picture, which was between a bunch of pine trees and a bunch of leafy bushes in front of them, you could see the veins in the leaves. That's how clear that picture was. Where the Bigfoot was standing was just a blur. Just a blur. You could see it had form, but not precise form, but a form, and it was blurred. But you could see on every leaf, you could see the branches, you could see, you know, the notches on the branches, you could see everything except what was in the center of that picture.
Wow. It's crazy. It kind of leads to the whole predator factor. You know, these blob squatches or you know, these I'm forgetting the terminology that people are using for this these days. Interesting, Butch. Very interesting. Let's get to another question. 5900 is asking, with so many reports that these creatures have mind speak, how can this ever be discounted?
It can't, because with the reports that we have on the bipedal canine, which I'm unbelievably familiar with, every witness that we put the creature in danger, in other words, they had a weapon, and they all had the same thing, all said the same thing. In their mind, they were told, don't shoot, don't do anything dumb, you know. One guy had it in his sight, in his scope. He said, I could have blown his head off. And he said, the minute I raised the rifle and took the safety off, he said, that just came right into my head, like somebody told me, don't do it. But this ain't going to turn out real well. So is there such a thing that they can communicate? Well, maybe. Don't know enough about them yet. But do know one thing for sure. They've been around for a long time.
Okay. With the mind speak that is out there, have you ever experienced that or been in a group investigating where somebody got that?
No, it's always been in reports, and only reports where we had the individual or individuals that were on the scene when it took place that had weapons, were they all had the same feeling, the same thought, don't do it. The very first report we had where the guy went back the next day with 3 of his buddies armed to the teeth, you know, and they walked in, and next thing you know, they're backing themselves out. They all said the same thing. If we would have opened fire on anything, we were going to lose that battle. So it was already a mindset, you know, that whatever they were thinking of doing or shooting at or whatever was not going to work out well at all. Guy in the tree that was in the tree stand, it was right below him. He was right above it by about 15, 20 feet, 30-06 high-powered rifle, pointed down. He said, could have blown the top of his head right off. It growled, put the safety back on, put the gun down, and he had the same thought. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So is it something that the communication is coming from the creature? Probably. There's nobody else there but him. The other place where it was two guys was a park ranger and his buddy checking over a new a pathway, a walkway that was being put into one of the parks, southeastern Pennsylvania, and they were followed by one, and he had a 40 Glock on his hip, and the minute he put his hand on it, same thing. Don't do it. Just go. Just leave. And he did.
That's just weird, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is just weird stuff. All right. Shar wants to know, have you heard about Dogman or other cryptids being the result of Satanists mixing human sperm with animals?
No, that's a new one to me. Never heard that one.
I want to know what she was on to come up with that question. I'm teasing, Shar. I am totally teasing. That is, I've never heard that question before. All right. You don't want to go there? I mean,
No.
That's right up your woo. But
yeah, no, that's weird.
All right. Big J wants to know, what do you know about Pine Gap in Australia?
You wouldn't get 10 feet past the gate before somebody shoots you. That makes Area 51 look like a playground. They don't have a whole lot of signs up there. Their signs are very distinct. You pass this line, you will be shot. End of story. Deadly force has been authorized. And it's not like it's just like those guys down there. I mean, we're involved down there. I mean, there's the Japanese are down there. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 different countries that occupy Pine Gap. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's tight as a drum. You don't hear, and things you usually hear about that, came out of somebody's storybook, because nobody has been in there on any investigations. And I've read a book where a guy said, yeah, I was there for 2 weeks. Yeah, right. But they tell you, don't cross the line. And there's a place, I can't think of the name of it. It's all in outside, right outside of London, that does something for Pine Gap. And I think it has something to do with cryptology, something like that. But that's another place where Giorgio Tsoukalos tried to get in there. He didn't step foot out of his car right, and there were guys on him. And when it was just, he drove up this road, nice trees, like a nice little country road, and he pulled over, he got out, and these guys were just right there. And they were all armed. And they said, you need to leave. That's all they said, and he left. And Nick Pope, who was the guy that set him in there, said, I told you, you're not getting in there. But there's just, we got places in Pennsylvania that you can't go. And, but I learned my lesson. I got screwing around one time on the computer and lost a computer through it.
All right. Let's go to Robin's question. What do you think about the Thunderbird?
Oh, Thunderbirds are real. I mean, the condor, there's a lot of big birds out there, but the Thunderbirds, people say, well, they're folklore. Well, they're probably not folklore, but they've been around in the indigenous tribes for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, they were worshipped as they could be a blessing or they could be a disaster. But you know, Thunderbirds are Thunderbirds. You know what exact bird it is, nobody ever says. But when you look at the beaks on the totem poles and stuff, they're all pretty much similar. So a lot of people think it's just condor or or large eagle or something like that. Surprisingly, there are more in Canada than there are in the United States.
I doubt that.
No, seriously. There was an article not too long ago. I forget what tribe it was. It wasn't Hopi. I can't remember which tribe it was. Said that they were teaching their young men how to make the totem poles, because there were more totem poles in Canada than there were at the indigenous in Canada than there were here, especially in the northern territories.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Now, I know in northern British Columbia, there has been sightings of what they call the ropin, pterodactyl type beings that have their stomachs that glow reddish orange. And these apparently, according to Jonathan Whitcomb, have a territory that spreads right down to Texas and Mexico and all the way across the Pacific, heading over towards the islands from like New Zealand, Tasmania, and all of the islands in that area.
Wow. I have to look at that one.
Yeah. Ropin, Ropen. It's kind of cool. Now, according to legend, and there's only one author who's ever written about this. We're trying to get him on the show. He states that a couple of the First Nations up there believe that a lot of their people are going missing because they're pterodactyl food.
Well, it sounds about right. Pterodactyls will eat just about anything, and they attack anything. I mean, I don't know where I read it years ago, where it was it was a book on dinosaurs, and it was mainly about who ran the roost, and it was the flying pterodactyls that were they were the most vicious. They'd go after anything. Didn't matter. Didn't matter how big they were. They'd attack anything.
All right, let's move on here on Spaced Out Radio. Carrie Ann is asking, have you, Butch, ever seen or heard of three-toed elongated tracks in Pennsylvania?
Yes, I have a cast of one.
Okay, you got to explain this to us. This is new to me.
It was I can't remember what year it was now, but it was found in western Pennsylvania, Greene County. Definitely three-toed, wide. Nobody can put anything to it. I mean, the cast has been shared with many researchers, and nobody can come up with what it could be. It's definitely not a bird. It shows no claw marks. And it was a good cast. I think it was in the late 60s, early 70s when it was found, and there was only one print. There was where it was found. There was a small wet area, like a little marshy area, and then past. So one print had to be in the marsh area because this would have been the right print. Just the way it looks like the right print would have been on the other side of that marshy area, which is where they retrieved the cast. Stan Gordon was the guy that retrieved the cast.
Let's go to Ted's question. So we got about 3 minutes to go before we got to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days. Ted is asking, Butch, I willed myself to have an out-of-body experience to deal with a shadow man, Jinn, that followed me back from Iraq. Thank you for your service, Ted. I beat it to hell. Ever hear anything like this? Thank you, and a great show.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was in Kansas. I spoke at a conference out there, and there was a tanker, veteran of the war, the Iraq War, and similar experience where just things started going bad the minute he stepped on the plane to come back home. And for about a year, he pretty much thought he was going crazy, but he hooked up with Mary Ellen Guiley, and they got it worked out. I don't know how they got it worked out, but they got it worked out. But where he think it attacked the jinn attached itself to him was they were in one of the small towns, clearing the town out of the bad guys, and the one mosque they went into. His words, I just didn't want to go in there, but I had to, and that's where he figured it attached itself. There's a lot of reports out like that out there. Strange lights, going between vehicles on the road while they're driving. Tankers parked for the night. Lights overhead. It just seems like wherever there's you had the Foo Fighters, so wherever there seems to be a conflict, and it works with the paranormal too, wherever there's been a conflict or a large amount of death, there's always some type of activity, whether it be paranormal or UFO or whatever. And it's just like one guy said, why do you think so many people, paranormal investigators, go down to Gettysburg? Because they see stuff, they hear stuff. They photograph things, and some of the photographs out of Gettysburg, you can't destroy them. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, guy and his wife parked there in the car, and they just had the camera going, and mounted in the dashboard cam, and you can see the guy walk right out between two cannon. He's dressed in Confederate uniform, walks around to the other side of the cannon, and then just disappears.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We'll continue with audience questions when we return for the final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues for another 30 minutes. Then at the bottom of the hour, we are going to go and join the fedora-wearing John Hudson for the Unbiased UFO Report. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio with Butch Witkowski continues right after this. One sec, Butch. All right. Better get myself ready. One second here. Having fun yet, Butchie Poo?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. You're doing awesome tonight, bud.
I just look at one of the questions up here. It says, "What's a Nubis?"
No, just what? No answering questions during the breaks, man. No answering questions during the breaks.
That's not a question. It's not in caps.
I
think he's asking somebody else. How much time we got there, Chief?
We got about 4 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick the dachshund out the back door.
Sure. You go.
Oh boy.
Love your question there, Chris Moe. I am going to ask Butch that.
I think my dog hates me.
Mine doesn't hate me. He just doesn't want to listen. At his
Oh,
age, he's like, shut up.
I open the door, let him out. He hits that cold patio. I could have swore he turned around and gave me the finger, but
Wouldn't surprise me.
He's 19 years old. I ain't gonna break him of anything.
All right, we got about 2 minutes, Butch.
Okay. Just reading that question.
That one we can answer during the break. On a scale from 0 to 10, how cranky am I making you tonight?
Nah, you don't make me cranky.
Come on.
I get there on my own.
Come on. All right. Latro, welcome to our channel tonight. Appreciate that. Hi, Aiden. How are you? Who else do we have in here that's just hopped on in? Stephen Finnegan. What's happening? Thank you for joining us. Any relation to the gorgeous Tammy Finnegan? Let us know. Let's see here. Armando, what's happening, buddy? And Eddie Haskell, good to see you. Oh, this is Steven's first time watching us live. Right on, dude. Thank you so much. Let's see. Gray Wolf Paranormal, Kaysen, how are you, buddy? Let's see who else has joined us. So we're running out of time here, and I'm running way behind. The gorgeous Carol, good to see you. Stunning Teresa, nice to have you here. That's about all I'm going to get to. Thank you to Spooky, to Phil, Brian, and Tim for the amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate it. I'm way behind in the chat room, so if I haven't got to your question, just stay right there. I'll try and get to it. There will be new swag coming up. We're just having some problems with our store, Tammy. Thank you to all the veterans who are are listening in. You always got a safe home here. Here we go. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Thank you so much for tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quatrail. Quatrail is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. Butch comes on in, rubs shoulders with the best of our audience, and, licks his mustache, talks some monsters, and then we get going with another show. That's what we're doing here as Butch joins us near the end of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
All right.
More questions
from our audience. We got a good one here. Braziloff is asking, Butch, do you have any juicy stories from Superstition Mountains, Arizona?
Well, I lived out in Arizona for a while. I've been to the Superstition Mountains, but the stories out there range from everything from hidden gold to ghosts, all kind of paranormal stuff, UFO sightings. I mean, that whole area, it's just, you even get a weird feeling when you're there. Like, it's almost like you don't belong there, like, go home. We don't want you here. But there's a great book. If you go on Google Arizona, what's it called? Arizona Trails, Superstition Mountains, and it's a large book, but boy, I'll tell you what, it's a great book because there's so many stories about the Superstition Mountains, and there's still people who go out there looking for gold.
Same as around here. There are so many areas along the Gold Rush Trail, man, where people are still hunting for gold that may have been hidden by any type of prospector back in the day who didn't want to get robbed or killed for their gold. They think it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move on to another question. Butch, this is from Big Dog. Have you ever heard about monster hunters?
No, I can't say that I have.
Okay, I have. So
okay.
Our good friend Swamp Dweller, who has a creepypasta YouTube channel, doing very well, successful. He has been in contact over the last couple of years with a gentleman who claims that he is in a monster hunting team. And literally, they try and communicate with monsters. Sometimes they fight with the monsters. I mean, it's hard to explain to really understand what this is all about. But apparently, it's a team of specialized people who literally go out into the forest and, if they have to, crack some heads on these monsters. And it's weird because I want to believe it. If it is true, I want to join it. But apparently it's a very secretive type group that's out there.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I'll pass you the link on that.
Okay.
For you to check out. And the stories are incredible. There's hours upon hours upon hours of stories of what these monster hunters have done.
Huh. Sounds interesting.
All right. All the way from Sri Lanka, our favorite Sri Lankan, Kason, is asking, what is your opinion on the Bigfoot and the ET connection?
Well,
Pardon me, UFO connection. I apologize.
okay. There has been a number of reports over the years where craft have landed and a Bigfoot has gotten out of the craft, or one report, I think that was from Ohio, was a Bigfoot was seen actually piloting a spacecraft. There's a number of those reports out there. I don't know what to make of them because, you know, I don't have access to those reports. I think one is from Stan Gordon's, but I have to look on his website and go back and see if it's if that's what it was all about. But I'm pretty sure it was, where Bigfoot was seen getting out of a craft and just walking away and kind of just disappearing. But that's pretty much all I know about those. But I know there are some reports like that. But my opinion, I think it's all connected. Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, cryptozoology, there's a connection for all of them. They're all connected somehow or another.
Not just Chewbacca. Not at all. Stephen in the UK is asking, do you have any British cryptid stories that you could share?
Well, the one that we've actually been working on one for over a year now, where instead of cattle mutilations, they're actually sheep mutilations, and pretty much the same as our cattle mutilations here in the U.S., with one exception, that there are 3 holes behind the right ear of each cadaver found, and the brain is missing. Besides all the other stuff which mimics our reports, except we never had anything like that where a brain was removed. And pretty much all the reports come out of the British Isles, and they're all sheep. There's no cattle involved, no horses or anything like that. Just cattle. I mean, sheep.
It's grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Thin Lizzy is asking, have you ever been visited by the Men in Black?
Yeah, on my wedding day. Oh no, that was another story. No, I have not. I've had a strange phone call, but no, no visit.
Tell us about the phone call.
It was I was investigating a sighting in Western Pennsylvania, and I got a call from one of Bigelow's investigators, and we were talking a little bit about that report, and then we got on to human mutilation and stuff like that. And at that point, I guess I was pretty much the only one that was doing it. And he said, you ought to stay away from that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I've been told that again. A couple of people told me that. But about an hour later, the phone rang, picked it up and looked on the phone, and there was no number. And I thought that was kind of strange, but I answered it. And the voice on the other end said, you should heed the warning. I said, the warning on what? He said, on the human mutilations. And the phone hung up. And I called the number back, and it just didn't go anywhere. Just dead air. I guess somebody just trying to tell me to be a good boy.
No kidding. Were you a good boy after that?
No. Never have been. No.
All right. David is wondering, are you aware of any cryptids in Arizona?
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds. Large cats, Bigfoot, bipedal canines, large snakes, lizards. A lot of stuff out in Arizona. UFOs a lot. Tons of them.
Don't they also have these little raptors running around there in the south near the Texas border?
Yeah, right along the Texas border. Yeah, right off I-10.
How come we're not hearing more reports about those things?
Well, just the word raptor makes you think twice about going to look for something that has raptor in its name.
Would you?
No. No.
I don't. You know what? I'm not a proponent for shooting these cryptids, but I think if I went for those little raptors, I definitely want an AR-15 with me.
The only thing about raptors is raptors have never hunted alone. Raptors always hunt in a pack, just like wolves.
That's what I'm saying.
You'll run into one, and while you're trying to get away from the one, the other ones have already surrounded you and got their napkins around their neck and their knife and fork out, and they're ready to go.
All right, let's go to another question. Double Base is asking, what about Lizard Man or Scape or Swamp? From Scape or Swamp.
Lizard Man reports from Ohio down all the way down to Mississippi, down to Florida. I mean, they're abundant. If you just Google Lizard Man, you'll get stories that go from the Great Lakes all the way down to Florida and everywhere in between. Ohio, the one where the lady was pulled underwater, and when they pulled her out, she had all kind of claw marks on her legs and stuff like that. That's it's a good report, but it only happened once. Although I think that's the same report where the lady and the gentleman that jumped in to pull her out. I think it was the lady that got a glimpse of it, and she described, like the creature from the Black Lagoon type of creature.
All right, let's move on here. Toe Tag wants to know, is Chupacabra real or myth?
I'm going to say Chupacabra's a myth. And the pictures that you see on the internet of the alleged Chupacabra are actually hairless Mexican dogs. If you punch up a picture of a hairless, but I can't even pronounce what they're called in Mexican, but if you punch up a picture of a Mexican hairless dog and look at the creatures that they've captured or shot or got hit by vehicles, it's the same animal, just a hairless dog, but they're large. And, anything hairless is nasty looking. You see a bear that lost its hair. I mean, totally weird. But I think it's just something that developed in folklore over time and just kept on moving.
All right. Grandmaster wants to know, what about orbs and rods? Do you believe in that phenomena?
Orbs, I've seen a bunch of those. Never saw a rod, but there is, if you, and I think you can download the book for free on Amazon. Just Google on Amazon, just put in rods in Japan. And there's two researchers out there that have been working on that for, oh my God, 10 or 15 years. And some stuff they can explain, some stuff they can't. It's not a big book, it's like 60, 70 pages, but it's a really good read. But if you have any questions on that's the way to go.
Looks good. Okay, continuing on here. Grandmaster wants to know, what do you know about high-powered laser summoning?
Seems to work. We have 2 high-powered lasers that you got to wear goggles and all that stuff with when you use them. And we've already, flashed them at something moving fast in the sky, and it slowed down and then pick up speed again. That's happened a couple times. So I'm assuming that whatever we were flashing it at, they got the message. Got to be careful with those things, though. One wrong flash, one reflection off anything shiny, and you're blind. No doubt about it. I mean, that's it. You're done.
I had to point all of my lasers away from the runway, which is behind my house.
Oh, yeah.
I have lasers pointed up into my trees because I got 8 trees in my front yard that are pretty close together. And when I put my Christmas lights up, I got a bunch of them laser beams, that you're supposed to shoot at your house.
Yeah.
No. I put it into my trees. So my trees right now look sparkly.
My neighbor does that too. My neighbor does the same thing.
But
he has one set on the house, and he has 2 or 3 sets on the trees. And one night I'm out there, it was like, it was early in the morning. We were getting ready to go somewhere, and I just stepped out back, and I'm like, saw all these lights in the trees. And I'm like, what are they? And it took me like 20 minutes to figure out what they were. Dummy.
Yeah, I have outside right now, I have 5 different laser beams going at my trees right now.
Cool.
And I have one at home. I just unboxed it, and it was broken, so I have to take it back. Oh. I'll get the other one tomorrow, man. But I'm telling you, my trees look good. Like I got like 70, 80-foot trees in my front yard.
Wow. Mine are about that in the backyard. Yeah. I got 4 or 5 of them. Oak.
Yeah. No, mine are fir trees.
Oh.
So I can just wait to get some snow out there. Then my lasers are going to go crazy when the snow starts falling. It's going to be awesome. I love my what you call it. Whit is wondering here, as we got about 5.5 minutes left. Any interesting Bigfoot stories from North Carolina recently?
Not recently. I've been working on the mauling of the school teacher in North Carolina. I haven't been paying much attention to anything else but that. They still don't know what tore her up. And plus, not far from that location was where they found the little boy who said the teddy bear took care of him. So I've been kind of spending time in those cases. And the one sheriff deputy has been really nice because I've talked to him a couple times now, and he said, nothing. We don't have anything. He said, we have no DNA match to anything. Not that we know of anyway. But she was torn up pretty good. And it wasn't her dog. She had 2 dogs with her. And her dogs were tested, and no, it wasn't her dogs.
Do you think that case will ever be solved?
You know what? After all this time, and they have all the DNA that they allegedly got from wounds at the autopsy, I don't think they ever will. I really don't. Sad.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's see here. See if we have any more questions from our audience here. As we scroll on down here, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continuing here. All right, let's go to Open-Minded Clarity. Thanks for joining us tonight. Are these raptors that you talk about developed by the U.S. government to act as natural border protection?
I don't think so. I don't know how you'd control them.
Well, let me rephrase this question, because a lot of people tend to think, Butch, that a lot of these creatures are made by the government in places like Montauk, where there was a lot of secrets. Do you believe there are creatures running around that were created by the government itself, or any type of scientific experimentation?
Well, hey, yeah. I mean, the Germans, the Nazis did it in World War II, where they were trying to mate soldiers with great apes, make super soldiers. So yeah, it's possible. Um, uh, there was, I believe, was that Maryland? There was a closed up prison in Maryland where a creature of some sort got loose. Nobody could, there was no description of it, but it got loose. And uh, next thing you know, there were military on the scene and all kind of police and all kind of, suit and tie guys. But the one guy that did get in, who was basically making a delivery, he said the one door was just ripped to shreds, a metal door. And then they called him and said, "Get out of here." I went, okay. Who knows? Who knows what the governments, not just our government, all governments, they come up with some of the stupidest stuff. I mean, mating monkeys or apes with humans to make a super soldier. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, would have been cheap to feed them, just give them bananas.
Very true. Coral is wondering, how do you know you have shadow people around?
Well, there's a lot of reports of shadow people, but the one that is reported the most is they call him the Hat Man, and it's just a shadow of a tall, thin guy wearing a hat, like a fedora, not a cowboy hat or anything like that. But there's reports of that guy like everywhere in the woods, old buildings, old prisons, old hospitals, in people's homes. I have no idea what that would even be. I mean, that it just seems a little ludicrous that, um, you know, these people, all these people are making this up, because some of those reports go way back into the turn of the century. I have no idea what they'd be. Like the Slender Man, is he for real or not? Don't know. But
My
there's
friend,
people, but there's people who will swear and declare they're there.
and my friend, that's a good place to wrap it up. We will not talk to you until after Christmas, near the end of December. So on behalf of Spaced Out Radio Butch, I hope you and your family have just a wonderful Christmas dinner and family get together, and Merry Christmas to you, your wife, and your son, and your grandkids, and everybody. It's always a pleasure having you on this show, my friend.
And the same to you and yours, and to all the SOR folks out there. What a group. What a group.
They are good people,
Yes,
just
they
like
are.
you. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days. We'll talk to him at the end of the month for the year that was. Coming up next, the fedora-wearing John Hudson will join us for the unbiased UFO report. We got Shirky Poo's news, and we'll try and squeeze in the thought of the Dave. Good stuff there, Butchie Poo. Good stuff there. Thank you for great.
Always good stuff from this outfit.
Yeah, not bad.
And
Not bad.
I got some girl that loves me. All right.
Yeah, you have a new girlfriend now.
I'm going to go back and look at that other message you sent me a little closer.
Yeah, that one wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. But thank you so much, Butch. Really appreciate that.
And we'll be talking to you the end of December.
All right, buddy. You take care.
You too, son.
Good night, buddy.
Bye. Night.
Love him. Butch effing Witkowski, everyone. Butch effing Witkowski. It's good times. Good times. All right, we're just waiting for the fedora-wearing John Hudson to join us. There he is, everyone. Look at the fedora. Look at the look. Look at the hair. Look at the chin hair. He's looking good tonight, ladies. And germs, I meant to say. Ladies and germs. Gems.
How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. A great show with Butch. Excited to have you on, bud. Did you just get the story that I sent you? I didn't know if you had that one or not. Johnny Poo? Yanni Poo. Hello. Who has nicer chin hair, YouTube?
Whoa.
John
Hello.
or myself?
That was weird. I got disconnected here.
Can
You
you
hear
hear me? I can hear you.
I can't hear you anymore.
Are your headphones okay? Hello. John, we got a chat here.
Say something?
Testing 1 2, testing
I
1
can't hear
2.
you at all.
It's your headphones, dude.
It's what?
Your headphones.
Okay. All right, let's try a different one. Okay, can you say something?
Testing 1 2 3 4 5. 5 4 3 2 1.
Here.
Nothing stressful about this, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on a second.
Testing 1 2 3 4 5. 5 4 3 2 1 0. We have 1 minute. 1 minute. I can hear you, John. Your microphone's hot. Hop in. Dun, dun, dun. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate having you on in. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates. around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. We want to remind you that all of our archives are free. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Yes. Follow us on social media on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're just waiting. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty hooking up with the fedora-wearing John Hudson. He will be with us momentarily, but I'm going to wait for his music to end here. But we're going to start off with a story here on the UFO Report. This one comes from a guest we had just a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Otis for Vice. He is a freelance journalist who's a contributor to Vice magazine. It's a report out of Canada where he says just after midnight of September 20th, 2016, that he received, not he, but the Royal Canadian Air Force squadron of CF-18s received a call from Vancouver air traffic controllers about vital intelligence sightings approximately 20 minutes earlier. And it was brought in by an Air Canada Express aircraft that they were trying to figure out what were these strange lights coming off the coast and off the mountains. Now, this was happening, the three red lights, about 3,000 feet above him, according to the Air Canada Express pilot, and traveling slower while 25,000 feet over an uninhibited stretch of British Columbia's northern rugged coast. So we're trying to figure out what is happening and with that. So I don't know. We need more reports out of Canada, I think. We really do. All right. John Hudson, we seem to be logging. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you now.
All right. We got you now.
All right.
But you know what? We can't start our segment without a little bit of music here. Hold on.
Yeah. Well, that would be kind of you. That would be kind of you.
Oh, that's sounding good now. Sounding real good. So instead of me telling the UFO reports, we're going to bring in the fedora-wearing John Hudson. That was weird, man. You had everything set up properly. We could see you. We could hear you. You couldn't hear us, but that's okay. Nonetheless, we still get our unbiased UFO report, my friend.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, first off, please, no, sorry, go ahead.
No, you please. We enjoy.
Well, no, I was just going to say, thank you everyone for sticking around, and especially live our recent little problem, and once again a head blowing night of Butch. So appreciate everyone sticking around, and hopefully we'll bring up some good conversation for you. You doing well tonight, Dave?
I am doing great. I am having a good night. My laser beams are working in my front yard.
Your laser beams?
Yes, I've lit up my trees in my front yard with Christmas laser beams.
And
I think it's cool. And I'm going to be honest with you, John. I think it's a good way for me to attract the aliens. Really do.
You want to make sure you're attracting the right kind,
Yes. By the way,
riffraff.
Before we start this segment, we should be of note here. Nicole Sakic and Grant Cameron just a few weeks ago had their brand new book out called Triangles, Aliens, and Messages. If you want to hear my Black Triangle story, they've included it in there. I believe it's at page 82. Page 82. It's a good Christmas present if you're into the Black Triangles. And Nicole and Grant are just so talented. They absolutely deserve, all the accolades they get for that book. Not just because you used my story, but it was a collection of amazing encounters that people have had. So,
now, Dave, in your specific story, did what you see indicate to you at all it was a human-made craft or not?
No. There was the two. I've seen two. There was no sound on either of them.
Okay.
The first one was way more creepy than the second one. Way more creepy. And that was because earlier that day, I had called some friends up. This was a weekend, Saturday night. I had called some friends up and I asked them to come on over and have a beer on the patio. And we'll have a little fire because I got a little fire pit on my patio, and we'll watch some UFOs fly over. And we saw 2 that night, including the black triangle just a couple thousand feet over top of my house. Weird stuff, man.
You know, even knowing what I now know, even having seen what I've now seen, if one of my neighbors, even one that I really liked, said, "Hey, John, come over tonight after dinner, have a drink. There's going to be some UFOs flying by. We can watch them as they go by." I honestly, Dave, I wouldn't know what to say. I really wouldn't. I
mean, like, that beer. You go for that beer.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know.
Crazy.
What I would say.
Crazy. Did you get an opportunity to read Daniel Otis's article?
No, I did. Wait, sorry, which one was this?
We'll talk about this one on Wednesday. The one I sent you. All right, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, actually, it was kind of funny because I've had a whole night of technical challenges because the notes that I had prepared for you guys miraculously vanished. But I would say probably one of the best issues to talk about right now is the DoD is actually responding to the criticism that we are seeing about what their maneuver might have been. And if you think about it, let me just give you guys a little bit of a quick background, just because this has gotten kind of layered in that essentially, you had all these, sequentially, set up amendments, right, that were going. You get up to the Gillibrand amendment, which is kind of the one amendment to rule them all, and she's kind of adopted as much as she could of all the other ones and sucked it into hers, and so she's got this kind of dominant one. And we're all kind of like, ooh, this is nice, this is good, and everything, right? And there's actually good stuff in it, right? It's actually well written. And boom, the DoD pops up with basically a press announcement and saying, "Hey, look, we've set up this new organization, and it does kind of most of the stuff that's done in that thing, but not really. We're just letting you know we already did it. Like, it's no big deal, And it immediately made it look like they were like trying to do a trick. I mean, they were trying to pull fool everyone. And the fact that basically in a press conference room, they were actually specifically asked this and had to specifically respond to the fact that is this organization that they are standing up specifically designed to actually, basically obscure and basically undo. And it was interesting. What the reporter said was, and this really kind of ticked a nerve for the guy, said was basically something along the lines of to undo the will of Congress. And he got very testy, and I'll include a link to it in my notes. But what I find so interesting is that one is that this would escalate to a point that in a DoD press conference room, someone would actually call out specifically Luis Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, and the fact that it was something that they'd written that was at the focal point of all this, right? So for those two names to be brought up, for the DoD to be called out for basically trying to obscure or slow this down, and then for them to actually respond, to actually acknowledge it as a valid complaint and respond to it in the way they did. Wow, I'm kind of blown away. Like I was really, I guess I was kind of naively kind of hoping that essentially, what the DoD was really doing was they were trying to get set up preemptively, and they were planning on merging and working together, and they weren't really trying to obscure and squash. And now, based on this DoD response that I saw, now I'm thinking I was being too optimistic. Now I'm thinking that they really were trying to do some squashing, and they got caught, and now they're trying to play all, oops, sorry. I mean, I don't know. Did you see it?
I did. And I was surprised that they were basically telling people, don't pay attention to Elizondo. Don't pay attention to Chris Mellon. They don't know what we're talking about. And the other point is, this is something, and look, I have been heavily questioning Luis Elizondo and Chris Mellon over the years. John, you've listened to us long enough before you joined us to know that I haven't been the most friendly person about this. But I'm telling you right now, my mind has changed. I really do believe they are on our side to an extent. On our side to try and get disclosure or some sort of confirmation out there. But here's the thing that really kind of got my mind going, John, was the fact that they also stated that they don't feel that the public or the government officials have a need to know about the information they are collecting. We do not have a need to know. Now, if I'm American, which I'm not, that is a very, very powerful statement. That, to me, is the second missile over the bow regarding the military-industrial complex telling elected government officials, you don't rule us, we rule you. You will do what we say.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty fair to say that this constitutes the, and we've actually seen some pretty strong pushback at certain points in this whole process. And I would say that this constitutes the most aggressive and obviously done out of fear, anger flash that we've seen out of the DoD through this entire process. I don't think we've ever seen them push back this hard. This is them. They're. I think the Gillibrand Amendment caught them off guard. I don't know how that happened, but I think it did. I think it really caught them off guard.
But you know what? If I'm in the mainstream media in the U.S., this is a major story that is brewing right in front of every American, and it is public, and it is getting zero press.
And forget the UFO part for a second. Just look at all the pieces of the story. It's a good story. It's a fun story, right? It's like, dude, come on, like, just get your teeth into it.
Dude, this is a dangerous story. It's a very dangerous story, and it's telling a lot of American people, you don't matter.
Yeah.
You don't run the show. Your vote for whoever becomes the president doesn't matter. Whether you're Democrat, whether you're Republican, whether you're Libertarian, or whether you vote for the spaghetti party or whatever party is out there. All right. If our American listeners tuning into this take anything from this show tonight and this little commentary, please do this. All right. This is now the second time in less than 10 days that the military has told elected officials to shut up. Number one came when they fired the salvo about putting the bill forward, and we'll take care of the UFOs. You government officials don't need to ask us anything about it. And number two comes now where they're saying, number one, Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, anybody preaching for UFO disclosure, don't believe in them. And number 2A, the public and elected officials will not receive reports from the military regarding UFOs. That's dangerous. Very dangerous.
And it puts people it puts a lot of other people in interesting positions, right? Because you take someone like the DNI, right? Now the DNI, she reports directly to the president. She does not. She's not within the DoD. However, several of those who report to her are from the DoD, and so she sits in kind of like this middle ground. And it'll be interesting to see how she plays this, because she could end up being in that peacemaker role of mitigating some real calamity there, because if she, for example, decides to use some of her resources to push for more disclosure, it might force the DoD's hand. The flip side is that the DoD can get her to begin operating on their behalf, then we might really actually get into a situation where things start getting really shut down.
But it's more than that, John. and I agree with you. You're 100% right. And people may say I'm overreacting on this, but this is about the military industrial complex. It really is. We are seeing the military industrial complex right now flex their muscles over UFOs. They flex their muscles towards the public and the elected officials themselves. This is this. I don't remember any time in my life that I've been following politics of this ever happening.
You know, there's one other case, and it's sad because I've been looking for it for like 3 years and I can't find it. But I watched it live on CNN, and it was like in the late 80s, I think it was, and it was on the Invisible Bomber. So this was basically on the B-2 long before we knew it was called the B-2. And basically, this guy's testifying in front of Congress, and the Congress was why won't you answer my question? And he's like, because I answer to a higher authority. And the guy's like, what authority do you answer to? And the guy's like, I can't tell you. That's because I work for that higher authority. And basically just shut down this whole congressional hearing. I mean, it was just like, it was flabbergasting. It was like, it was awe-inspiring. I still to this day can't find it. But to me, this is that kind of level stuff.
Well, you're exactly right, buddy. You're exactly right. John, we're going to continue this in the after show on our YouTube channel, but we're going to get to Shirky Poo's news right about now. Thank you so much for a great unbiased UFO report. Sorry about the tech difficulties there, but you're awesome, buddy. You're one of the best out there, and thank you for being part of our team. All right, here we go. Let's get to Shirky Poo's news. Here we go again in British Columbia. Another atmospheric river will be streaming into western Washington and parts of British Columbia again. The back-to-back-to-back systems for the region seems a little broken, but the phenomena is significant. It's going to mean more flooding. It's going to mean more landslides. It's going to be more blocking roads. It's going to mean that Dave doesn't have to go home and spend time with his family over Christmas, which is all right with Dave because he gets to go skate on the ice outside of Christmas Day at his house. But the atmospheric river, it hit us hard November 13th to 16th, dropping up to 300 millimeters of rain, or just about a foot, and precipitation in less than 48 hours, said Jason Zhang, a meteorologist for Environment Canada. But we're getting close to more of it happening. How close? Well, expect the highways to be closed. Literally, British Columbia, the whole Vancouver area, if you don't know. Vancouver, straight to a town called Chilliwack, is shut down. All you got to do is go Google it. The photos are incredible, especially in Abbotsford. That's my hometown. It's where old Davey was born and raised. Let's move on here. Speaking of the weather, when heavy fog forced a Canadian Armed Forces helicopter crew from Quebec to make an emergency landing last week on the banks of the Fraser River near Yale, BC, they were not expecting the series of generous events that followed. Fog and darkness had rolled quickly on November 23rd after Captain Julien Brideau and his crew departed Boston Bar on their way up to the Abbotsford Airport. The crew of 4, which included a British Columbia doctor, had been on a medical mission helping flood-impacted patients in the region. On our way back, the fog banks were getting bigger as we were winding down the valley. I've driven that highway. It gets foggy, said Brideau with the 430 Tactical Helicopter Squadron. We made a good decision to land, but the only spot wide enough was a sandbank by the Fraser River, and with the rain in the forecast, he was worried the river could flood. Nearby Yale residents, Randall Gardner and Melinda Barnes, heard the sound of the chopper's rotors, so they set off to investigate. And Gardner shared the pilot's concerns about flooding and suggested a better spot uphill. I went uphill with them and looked at the area as we were discussing. I was like, yeah, it's a little tight, but we could get her in there. Got a chainsaw, cut down a few trees, and the helicopter landed. The crew, hungry, tired, even got some grilled cheese sandwich from the great Canadian people of Yale, British Columbia. By the way, haunted area, that Yale. Yeah, it's fantastic, though. Good for them. That's the way we take care of people up here. All right, how's this? According to the 2024 Olympics, the city of Paris has announced an unprecedented program that they will be launching flying passenger drones to be used as taxis. Pilot testing is already underway on the large-scale electric drone aircraft, which they hope will be used to shuttle sports fans from one Olympic venue to another. And we got time for one more. All right, Swedish furniture company IKEA is offering a tiny home apartment in Tokyo for the price of less than $1 a month for a year. IKEA said the 107 square foot apartment in the Shinjuku district will be rented out on a 1-year lease for the price of $0.86 per month. That's $86 a month, not including utilities. Want to say a big thank you to everybody listening in tonight, to Shirky Poo for the news, and of course, John Hudson for the unbiased UFO report. And who could forget the infallible Butch Witkowski for Strange Days? We'll talk to Butch one more time in 2021 near the end of December. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our YouTube chat room tonight, along with Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club. Who else we got? LGAB, Revolution Radio. We love having all of you chatting during the show. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Come on, computer. Shut on down. There we go. All right. One sec, Johnny. We'll bring you in here in a moment. The fedora wearing John Hudson. Wish I could get my hair to be like this during the day. It's never like this. Yeah, you could hear Quest right now. Come on, Captain, you son of a bitch. Get her going here. Bring us home, you bastard.
It must be a humidity thing.
I don't know. No, when I shower in the morning, I put too much hair gel in. You know?
Oh.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. All right. Just for people listening right now, I just want to explain our audio issue that we're having here. So when my big board blew up last week, I had to make some changes, and I'm using a smaller board connected to another board. But for some reason, StreamYard is not talking to Radio DJ right now. And we're trying to figure out why that is happening. And we were working on it for about an hour and a half before showtime tonight, and it wasn't really working. We thought we had it a couple of times, but it just didn't seem to work. So I don't know what we need to do. in order to get that done, but we're working on it. So just wanted you guys to all know that we are underway, and that it is going towards trying to figure it all out. Okay. So just bear with me over the next couple of days as we try and figure it out. And it's a whole different ball game right now that we're not really used to. So I have to get used to absolutely everything again, which is kind of cool in one way, kind of crappy in another, but there is nothing that really can be done. And that's okay. We are working on it. So if you're not hearing the audio, we know it sucks. And we're trying to do something about that to make it work. So just bear with us. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How you doing there, Fedora? Hi, gorgeous D Swagger.
It frustrates me to no end that there's so many products like the boards that you're talking about that we could make so much more functional, and just no one's willing to spend the damn money to do it, and it just pisses me off to no end. Because, you know, for example, like you take all your boards, for example, and if I could actually create visual indicators, like actual visual indicators that show you exactly where sound is moving through the board, like where every point sounds merge, break out again, strength differences, frequency differences, you know, actually show visually allow, see the flow of it all across the room to every single port and every single wall, every single direction it's going, you know, see all that, be able to visualize all of that moving as a symphony of sorts, right? And be able to debug and troubleshoot things from that level. It's not impossible by any means. It's just expensive. And it bugs me that no one's willing to step up and do it, because you could make, you could honestly, you could make debugging stuff like this actually fun.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, Dave likes fun. Dave totally likes fun. You know, but, you know, we'll figure it out. There's obviously something we are missing in the connection between Radio DJ and StreamYard, and go from there.
Yeah, it could easily be a format issue. It could be a cable issue. It could be a licensing. I mean, yeah, so many options. Yuck. Fun.
I know. It is what it is, but we are on it. Just give us a little bit of time here, peeps. We'll get her going. Promise you. Coral is liking my floppy hair.
Well, it's looking better now that it's getting longer, and it's kind of, you know, you have enough of it to kind of weigh itself down.
Yeah, I'm almost at the length that I want it. Almost. Probably another inch to 2 this way. That's up, Dave. Probably right about there. That's where I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, you definitely want to grow it a little bit longer. Otherwise, because right now you're in that nirvana area.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. Buddy. It's all good.
What part of the moose does the oil come from? Is there really? Oh, never mind. I didn't get. Okay, I'm slow today, I guess.
My microphone was really low compared to Butch's. I'm gonna have to figure that out too. All right. Well.
Hey, Dave, that guitar over your behind your right shoulder with the shark floating in front of it.
Yeah.
What's the paint job on that?
Let me show you. Hold on.
It's trippy looking.
Oh, that shark just.
Oh wow!
That's pretty cool.
That is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, that's my daughter's guitar.
Wow. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Nice.
It really is.
Yeah, that is. Wow.
Yeah, I just keep it up here for safekeeping. So
yeah, totally. Well, because you said she's kind of out of the mindscape of playing for the moment.
Yeah, that's okay.
How long did she play for?
Oh, she just loves musical instruments.
No, but how long did she play guitar for? Did she get?
Oh, she just started. She started last year.
Okay, all right. There's a good chance she'll get back into it.
Yeah, she moved out today.
Did she?
Yeah, she moved out today, and pretty proud of her.
How are you feeling?
She's.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Oh, good.
She's a determined young lady, and she's 18, and she'll be 19 in a couple of months, and she's wanting to upgrade some of her high schooling and go and get ready for university. And so she moved a few hours south to a place called Penticton, and I'm very proud of her. She's got some direction of where she wants to go and what she wants to be a part of. So, as long as she stays away from FAP, we'll be good.
Well, it appears FAP is into Madonna lookalikes, so she should be okay.
Yeah. If he tells me to strike a pose, I'm in trouble.
Where does she want to go to university? Does she know yet? Or does she just
University of British. There's a university in the Okanagan called University of British Columbia, Okanagan.
Uh-huh.
So she wants to be a heavy-duty mechanic. It's a big need for them. It's very good money.
A heavy-duty mechanic. So
yeah.
How does something get defined as heavy duty?
Like big rigs, big tractors and buses and all that kind of stuff. She likes working on vehicles. I don't know where the hell she gets it from, but she does. Hey, Cloud awesome. Horse, Shruminati. Who else do we have dropping in here? The gorgeous Amber's Para World.
What kind of money can you make working on those kind of machines?
It's a 6-figure salary. It's hard work, but it's a 6-figure salary.
Huh.
I mean, I really wanted her to follow in her grandfather's footsteps, which was to become a pilot, but she doesn't want to. So, Polar Eclipse, how you doing? So, you know what? Whatever she wants to do, and she's young enough where if she doesn't like it, she can always go back to school and figure something else out. I was pushing for the military. I really wanted to see her go into the Canadian Armed Forces. But, she needs to find herself. And in our little town where we live, it's very difficult for any young person to try and find themselves. So the fact that she is taking that first giant leap, I'm proud of her.
Yeah, totally. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I mean, I just
all I got to say is 2 down and 1 to go, man. I wish my kid was good at hockey because I'd be sending him to Notre Dame at 16 years old. Or 15 years old. 14. Sorry, 14 years old. Notre Dame is a hockey college in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan.
I didn't know you really had to put in the middle of nowhere in front of Saskatchewan.
No, you have Saskatchewan in the middle of nowhere, and then you have the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan. Let's see. It's in Wilcox, Saskatchewan. Wilcox, Saskatchewan.
Still blows my mind that your entire bloody country, and it's a big country. It's a lot of land that you guys own, right? Your entire country has less people than the state of California.
Yeah. All right.
Blows my mind.
So let's see. Yeah, it's really in the middle of nowhere. It really is. It's about an hour east or southwest of Regina.
You guys' capacity for naming places is really outstanding.
Oh, Moose Jaw.
My mom was born in Moose Jaw.
Moose Jaw has one of the biggest Canadian military bases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moose Jaw.
Where all fighter pilots go to start their training. To CFB Moose Jaw.
Yep.
Hey, Purpose and Grace. Dave, you introduced me to geocaching and I'm hooked. Good for you. How many have you found? How many have you found?
She's like, 500, and I haven't slept in a week.
Oh, dude. We should take our family on geocaching vacations. It was awesome. Seven or so. Good for you. Got started. It's a lot of fun. You'll learn to hate micro caches really, really quickly.
I take it there are micro.
They're about this big. They come in a little bison tube. They're horrible. Brown Dwarf, welcome to Spaced Out Radio's chat room. How are you? How was your weekend there, John boy?
It was nice. It was nice. It was relaxing. It was I actually got caught up on some movies I've been wanting to see forever that I haven't had a chance to see.
Right on.
Yeah, it was nice. It was Thanksgiving dinner was really nice, so that kind of like set the whole weekend off in a good angle, you know.
Very cool. You know what happened to me today? So my buddy, Little Marky Spender, he has to go down to Kamloops today. His daughter had a orthodontist appointment there. All right. So he texts me about 12:30, and he goes, "Super burrito?" He's going to stop at Taco Bell for me.
Nice.
So why are you even asking? Due to the food shortage, because the trucks can't come up from Vancouver, Taco Bell is closed. You do not know heartbreaking until...
Oh, and it's Canadian, so they can't just go, grab some dogs off the road either. You got to use like real good meat and all that.
It was absolutely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. John,
wow.
Painful.
That's terrible, man. I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I have so many Taco Bells, so close to me, and I have not eaten at a Taco Bell in
it's abuse.
It's been at least 20 years.
That is complete body abuse.
It has been at least 20 years since I've eaten at a Taco Bell. I gave up all fast food a long time ago. The only exception is I'll do like Five Guys once in a while, or something like that, But for the most part, not big fast food. Not a big fast because it's all American fast food. I love it when I go to other countries. I mean, man, fast food in Canada is like
it's
gourmet.
good here.
Yeah,
it's good here.
It's actually just fast. It's just faster food. It's like not like food that you want to run away from fast. It's different.
Yeah, it is. It was a painful message today. All right. Yes, we are in. Give me 2 seconds here, buddy. I just have to. Where did I send that to you? Where is the immortal John Hudson here? Where did I put that story now? Sorry, I just got an email from Vancouver here. We'll be going on the shift with Shane in Vancouver tomorrow.
I like that guy.
And where are we here? Was there a written copy of that story yet? Had anybody written a copy of that story about Elizondo and Mellon? Because I know there's a video on it.
No, I believe as of before I went on the show tonight, I believe it was still just that audio one. Let me think if there who might have had something, because someone did originate the article, so I wonder. The thing that blew my mind was like I was expecting him to be like when they accuse him of that, him like just blow it off and be like, "Go, come on, don't be ridiculous. We don't circumvent and we don't undermine the congressional will. Like that's ridiculous. Like what are you talking about?" And instead, he actually freaking defended himself like he needed to. I was like, "What are you doing, you idiot?" I was blown away. I was blown away.
Like I said, dude, people in the U.S., if they were actually paying attention, this story should be on every major newscast that the military is telling the public to screw off.
Nothing to see here. Move along. Move along.
Hey, there's the gorgeous and talented Heather McIntyre. Yes, our Dogman vixen from Las Vegas. Bigfoot might sighting is in Maine. Dogman, no. Bigfoot, yes. And yes, I know you're moving there again. Supposed to hang out in Sin City, but can't wait forever. Can't wait for Davey to get down there forever to party with us. I understand. The lovely and talented Heather McIntyre has joined us. If you really want Bigfoot, you'd be moving to the Pacific Northwest.
I don't know. I looked a lot when I was a kid. I wanted to see a Bigfoot when I was a kid so badly. Even went to places where they had seen him earlier. Couldn't find one anywhere. Heard some creepy stuff at night, but I heard lots of creepy stuff at night, so I've never been able to put any kind of weight on any of that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. if you want Bigfooties, actually, you can pretty much go anywhere now to see them.
There is evidently over in the area that I would go looking if I was going to go look for any. There is evidently a museum that's supposed to be pretty good. I need to go check out.
Scully's House of Thrillers. How you doing, buddy? What's new? All right. So, let's see here. Just want to see if our new swag is up. No, it's not. Not yet. Not yet. Duke, you weren't supposed to say that. I was trying to get her to move to the Pacific Northwest, not east. Oh, yes, I know there's lots of Bigfoot in Maine area. Damn you, Duke. Gonna pull your cape off, man. Yeah, I will have to go and get you some. They're on the UFO Garage. I'll show you. If you haven't seen this yet, this absolutely cracks me up. Hold on. We'll show you here. Hold on. Let's go to Ben and Joe's website at UFO Garage. All right. Let's go here. Hold on. Let's go to their store. This is what Heather wants right here. There they are. Look at those. You've got aliens.
Nice.
Right there. You got to, and then if you want to check out the backside, it's got the UFO Garage and a Chevy Impala.
In the Ben and Jerry's art style. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. That's what she wants. Right there.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful face right there, man. How you can't get much more gorgeous than that.
Geez, Dave, you know, if there's ever any sign that says you've made it,
right?
I think this is it, man. I think you really, you know, pour yourself a drink, man. I think this is it. I think you finally done it.
These are hilarious.
This is the big time, man. Look at that.
I would totally wear these myself. I wonder if they have an. I'm sure I could. Yeah, I could get myself a pair. Double XL. Yeah. Only on the UFO. They're only for sale on the UFO Garage website. So it's UFO Garage. I will be having ladies' undergarments on our store when it's up and running properly. I think I can show you here. Hold on. Let me. Where do I have them here? Hold on. Let me get rid of that. Oh, hold on. I got to do this first. Let me just get this done first. And get the other ones started here. Oh, goodness. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, no. Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Move those back over here. All right. There, and there. Let's convert those. All right. Where did I put them here? I did have them. Okay, let's see if I. Okay, let's go here. What's my store called? I just got to log in here to Shopify. Don't want that. I'm gonna log in. Where is my login? Maybe it's not Shopify. What the hell is my store called? I know. Hold on. I always forget this. Oh. We're just waiting for these products to go online. I am not a robot. And let's go to my store here. Hold on. Designs. I think that's where I got them. All right, we'll go here for a second. Oh, they're not on here. Hold on. Where the hell did they go? On page 2? I don't know where the hell they went. Huh. Well, that's not it. That's the wrong store. That's why. What the hell's my store called? Son of a wife. What's it called? That ain't them.
Well, it's got to be something somewhat logical, wouldn't it be?
Hold on. I'll find it here. All right. There it is.
Dave's Beard Boutique.
There's my store. Hold on.
I like the
I am not a robot.
Dave's Beard Boutique.
Sign in. All right. Oh, Ben pulled them off. Are they hidden? No, he pulled them off. He's going to be working on it. We got a new one coming out here pretty quick. Check this out. In honor of Butch Witkowski and
nice.
Lou and Uncle Dale and his power stash, we have the official Lip Blade t-shirt going to be coming out. That is sexy. Calendar, don't know. Dirty Filth is working on a calendar right now. For some reason, our product is not loading into our store. So Ben is working on that. Good night, Gorgeous Amber's Para World. All right. Heather, send me your address. Oh. Chad Smith podcast. Very nice. Don't forget tomorrow morning. I don't know. He goes on at some ludicrous hour on the East Coast.
Crazy ass time in the morning.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Tries to make it sound normal by saying there's coffee there. So that doesn't make it normal.
1 second. Susan, Mama Susan, go to this website right here. And you can either play for free, or if you want a premium membership, it's like $30 Canadian or $34 Canadian. And you just download the app on your phone, because you're not going to be going out into the forest or anything. And it'll show you all the geocaches around your address or wherever you go. And Purpose and Grace, you can also, or anybody who geocaches, go onto our website to find our travel bug. We do have a travel bug on our website. So you can go find that as well. And that's kind of cool. Yeah. The stuff we do. Upload folder, please. There we go. Tomorrow night on the show, believe it or not, it will be Spaced Out Radio's 7th anniversary. Yep, 7th anniversary tomorrow. And I'm going to be having a bunch of people come on in and say hello. Fedora John may jump in. I know Nicole Sackage, Science Bob, and a number of others are going to jump in with everything. And we'll even take some calls from you guys. Tell us your best SOR memory, favorite show, favorite guest.
Most embarrassing Dave story you can possibly think of.
Sure, that works too. That's tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So that'll be fun.
Seven years, man.
Just think, as of tomorrow, I would be off the 7 years of bad luck for breaking a mirror. Yep. So we're going to have some...
Such a perfect example of a wives' tale that was so clearly invented by a bunch of moms that were just so bloody sick and tired of kids breaking mirrors that were expensive to replace, that they decided to come up with this beautiful myth that would scare the children away from ever breaking another mirror again.
Yep. Yeah, 7 years, man. Still can't believe it.
It's kind of interesting, 7 years.
Yeah, man. It's pretty insane, to be blunt.
Because
I've been working 16 hours a day for 7 years. How stupid am I? Holy cow.
And what the hell was going on in 2014 that made this seem like a good idea? I mean, I understand what happened to you personally, but I'm just, if I didn't know your story, I'd be thinking to myself, 2014, what the hell was going on in 2014 that would make someone want to do a show like this?
Oh, stupidity.
It's a weird time. I mean, now in hindsight, it was brilliant because you started your show 3 years before all freaking hell broke loose, right? I mean, you timing could not have been better, but at the time, it's what?
Hard to believe we are coming on the 4th anniversary of the To the Stars Academy announcement. Actually, we passed that. Coming up 4 years on the New York Times paper. Yep. It's the way it is.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But what a freaking hell of a time to be alive. And how amazing is it that it's happening? And I guess it probably couldn't have happened at any other time, but it's so fortunate for so many of us that it's happening at this time where the internet's providing this ability for so many of us to kind of, sit at the front lines to a degree, and be able to participate in so much of this while it's happening, as opposed to what we find in the archives of Stanton Freeman, where it's like, months and months and months of letters going back and forth with 2 to 3 weeks between letters, and just like this incredibly slow, monotonous fighting that doesn't actually never actually resulted in anyone acquiescing a position of any sort.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, it is nasty, nasty times right now. Nasty. Let's see. Let's check out Scully's House of Thrillers. See what he's doing. YouTube. Scully's. I think I hit subscribe to that. House of Thrillers. Hit subscribe to that. Yes, I did. There he is. Right there. Scully, you got to get some other shows on your channel, man. On your page. That's what you need.
Scully's House of Thrillers. That's a cool name.
That's a great name.
It really is. It's a really good name.
Okay. Here we go. Right there. Send that bad boy off. Is that your phone nearby?
Me?
Yeah.
This is my phone right here. Yeah.
Getting like cell phone feedback.
Oh yeah, I can push it away. Damn, it's really cold.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. Pretty freaking cool.
Oh my god, it's 47 degrees.
Oh my god, what are you gonna do?
Gonna go inside and bake cookies. That's what I'm gonna do.
You know what I'd be doing at 47 degrees?
What would you be doing at 47?
I'd be wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
But it's funny. It's growing up around here, that was the rule my mom and I had. Was that I had to put a jacket on, but it only if it dropped below 50. That was the rule. Like if 50 was the cutoff point. If it was below 50 I had to wear a jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to at least put on like a light jacket of some sort if it was under 50.
Yeah, it's crazy time. Crazy time.
Do you watch Netflix, Dave?
Not really. Should I?
I don't watch a whole lot of television. I've been trying to watch more lately, just because I think a certain amount is good for you, just to kind of veg out a little bit. But the reason why I was specifically asking is there's this one show that's developed for Netflix. It's called Inside Job, and it is one, it's very hard to explain, and two, it is the funniest. It's basically a show about the company that's behind all of the conspiracy theories that have ever existed.
Really?
So like one whole episode is about the lizard people and the negotiations that had to have been held, and the banquet that they had to go to that then went badly, and someone's arms got ripped off, and it's it's one hell of a show, and it's really good, and it's very funny, and it's very over the board, like very over the top. Really worth watching. I highly recommend it. Inside Job, incredibly funny.
Very cool. Very cool. My friend, I'm going to go off to bed here.
Yes. I'm getting very cold, so I was going to suggest the same thing. I was just waiting for you to finish.
Cold. Oh, cold. You're funny.
Oh, come on.
You are so funny. Anyways, I invite each and every one of you over to tomorrow night's show where we're going to have the SOR birthday party.
Hard.
And I'm going to bring in a bunch of friends that you're going to recognize, and we're going to hang out, tell our favorite stories of 2021, and just reminisce on 7 years of really cool history on Spaced Out Radio. It's been a wild ride, man. Wild ride.
Hey, what color was all your hair when you started?
It was dark.
Was it really?
Yeah. I was salt and pepper, but it was much darker. Yeah. So that'll get going 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Big thank you tonight, Fap. You were
But you were still a guy when you got started, right? That's not new or anything, right?
Idiot. Thank you, Fabster, for your amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate that. Thank you to Spooky, Phil, Brian, and Tim for an amazing night. You guys, wow. You guys all wowed me with the super chats tonight. Thank you so much, and well-deserved. Thank you to all the veterans out there listening in and hanging on out. Absolutely love you, and you always have a safe home here on Spaced Out Radio. Do us a favor, if you don't mind, share the show, leave a comment below. Let's get some interaction going. We'd appreciate that. And a big thank you to everyone who's following us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find us if you haven't joined our Facebook group already, Spaced Out Radio. My personal handles on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Scott, SOR. 7 years, man. Holy cow. 7 years. We're going to make it rock tomorrow night. Come join us. And Spooky Morales, wherever you are, it's time to take us home, buddy. Warm up that trumpet.